Live tonight on American Zombie. Like, say what's up to everyone. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. Been doing a few things today. And yes, disturbing truths about the rabbit hole. The deeper we go into the rabbit hole, the more disturbing it might become and has become for many. If people aren't ready to go down the rabbit hole, well, then they shouldn't. We saw this in The Matrix with the danger that happened by awakening Cypher, somebody that stood there as a plant for many years within the group and eventually turned on them, causing the lives of some very some very real people that weren't in the Matrix, people that had come out of the Matrix. I mean, when you look at the danger that Cypher did, it was almost irreparable, but it happened. And it was because he couldn't deal with the disturbing truths about the rabbit hole. The disturbing truths about the rabbit hole is something that might need to be touched upon before somebody is even told about it, or to go into, hey, let's go down the rabbit hole. Let me like Morpheus said to Neo. He said, you take the red pill and you stay in Wonderland, and I show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Now, of course, that's just one facet of the rabbit hole, but another reference came from Cypher, oddly enough, that was saying, hold on to your seat, because we're about to kiss Kansas bye bye. Another reference to, again, the Wizard of Oz. Hold on to your seat, Dorothy, I think he said, because Dorothy is the protagonist, right? In Wizard of Oz, which of course I think comes from an older script. We know that everything that we see in modern civilization today is stolen from previous civilizations with advanced technology, bits and pieces of it that was saved from even older civilizations. But those things are not talked about, because if they were, we would start to think and wonder and have like possibly a passion develop to find out who were these ancient civilizations, when were they, where, what part of the world. It would immediately spark a want to know. And this is something that they don't want people to experience. They don't want you to have a passion or a thirst for knowledge. You're only supposed to be a consumer. The only thirst you should have, according to the government, is for their propaganda, which goes back to Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, where you can't have them build a concentration camp and stay in it. No, that's not enough. They have to be happy. They have to defend that concentration camp. If it's ever torn down or they're rescued from that concentration camp, they must spend every bit of energy trying to get back into it or build another one. Huxley was talking about painless pharmaceutical concentration camps where people walk around in a daze. And what do we see today? The amount of people that are on pills, somebody could call them prescription drugs, but a lot of them are taken illegally. The amount of people on pills or prescription drugs or whatever somebody wants to call them is insane. It is insane, the amount of people that are on some type of pill. You would literally, if you look at the statistics, it's almost unbelievable. And that's just what we're being told. If anybody still has relationships with people out there in society, they might notice that those numbers are higher than what they would tell you. We're in epidemics, epidemics throughout society. And people, I had said this before. When have you ever seen a prime minister, a president, or anybody that's really in control of what they would call a free nation come out and tell people to love one another, to care about one another, to say, this is important, that we need to love one another more. We need to care about one another. We don't see that. I've never seen that from any American president. I've only seen hatred and fear. And then when I look through the history books of what I was told to study as a child, when I should have been taught about plants and nature, no, they put up the faces of these monsters, these grown males with makeup on their face, wearing stockings and buckled shoes. Very odd to say the least, that we have like this this culture that worships these guys that wear stockings and makeup. That's what I've noticed, in my opinion. And then they push a religion that doesn't have any women. That kind of makes it odd when I think about that. And what's even more odd is a lot of women don't say nothing about it, I've noticed. Sometimes when they're outspoken, they go a little off the handle. They go off the handle in the way of where it's not it's not reasonable. They're not having a logical conversation where we can make progress. And it's understandable that a person would be angry. But when we look at the fact that we got all these guys with stockings and makeup and wigs, don't forget the wigs. So we got the wig, the stocking, the makeup, the buckled shoes. I mean, it's straight Rocky Horror Picture Show. And now you go into the religion and you say, well, where's the women in this? It's the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. It's like anything but women. And don't we, aren't we born? And I'm not trying to come out here like, anything crazy. I'm just stating facts. Brother Ali, good to see you, brother. Always, man. Always, brother. Thank you for the support, man. Brother Ali says, America's Healthcare Solution by Mike Stathis exposes the supposed scam care system of Big Pharma and the allegedly made-up diseases like the AD, etc. And yes, there are, I got to thank Mike Stathis for exposing that. And I appreciate it, Brother Ali, the support. Thank you, brother. This is so true. This is so true. I can understand people calling it a scam care system because they do come out and just make stuff up. It's just like, you think about just ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, because it couldn't just be ADD. ADD wasn't good enough. You needed to add in another hyperactivity in there to get that prescription, to nail in that prescription, to frame it, to say, look, we need to frame this prescription. We need to make sure we get that prescription. So put in hyperactivity, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And when you look at these names, you start to see just how made up they are. That used to be called daydreaming 40 years ago. Now you can't daydream. If you daydream, you have to take a pill. And what does that remind me of? That reminds me of a movie called Equilibrium. Equilibrium was a movie with Christian Bale. They picked the right guy because it was an emotionless movie. And everybody, when they heard like a gong or a bell throughout the day, they would stop and take their dose of a medicine that prevented them from feeling. So the crime was to feel in Equilibrium, which is actually a pretty good movie. It came out, I think, right around the time of The Matrix. And it has some similarities. The black coat, the glasses, definitely has some stuff like that. The sort of martial artist, kung fu type of moves that's in it. It doesn't compare as far as The Matrix is a spectacular movie. Probably one of the top black pill movies that were ever made. The Matrix is up there. We can go through it all day long and we start to see like so many things about it that was little Easter eggs and stuff. But Equilibrium was really good. Equilibrium was they dealt it had a touch of the Brave New World of the 1984 in it. It was definitely a good mixture. And it showed how they were trying to eradicate feeling and that resistance was still there. Resistance was there, alive and well, which it makes me wonder when I look at these movies, like in the late 90s, and Jamal Green, when he was on here, had brought up this a lot with the movies. With the late 90s, you had Gattaca, Equilibrium, The Matrix. I think Johnny Mnemonic might have came out in the late 90s. There was a lot of movies that woke people up. It may have been the pinnacle. It may have been, because when I look at the golden age of the internet from either 2002 to 2012, or if you shifted 2 years forward, 2004 to 2014, it was definitely 10 years of the golden age. The internet was like the Wild West. YouTube was off the Richter scale. There wasn't a thumbs up and thumbs down. It was a 5-star rating system back then. This is before Google owned it. And then when Google bought it, I think it bought it around 2012. I think it was around that. Yeah. So let me just look that up. When did Google buy YouTube? So when did Google buy YouTube? Wow. So they bought it a lot earlier. They bought it back in 2006. Oh, it announced it would buy it in 2006 for $1.65 billion. Holy smokes. So October, and it completed that in November. Oh my goodness. Because I remember hearing that. And that's actually, funny enough, that's when I started my first YouTube page. I still have it in 2006. And I might start up a channel on that. I might do a news channel or something on it. Still have a little over 2,000 subscribers. It's amazing when I look at that channel. I say, wow, it started in December 2006. This is the 20th year. So I am a 20-year YouTuber. I might start a channel just with news for New York, like just all about the recalls. I mean, we've had stuff every time we have stuff in the supermarket that's been recalled that people don't know are recalled. So it would also touch on recalls from other part of the nation, of course. Like when I spoke earlier on a stream about the radioactive shrimp they were talking about from I think it was a recall from Walmart, actually. Radioactive shrimp. So I just type in radioactive shrimp, right? Last year, 2025 to 2026, the FDA issued multiple recalls for frozen imported shrimp from Indonesia. And they're saying that it had cesium-137, a radioactive isotope. So the fact that it got into the supermarkets affected products, frozen shrimp. So if you're buying some frozen shrimp at the supermarket, it's a possibility. Breaded, raw, cooked, and skewers under brands like Great Value, or people are buying some Great Value because they think, why? Because they think it's a great value. That's self-explanatory. Waterfront Bistro, oh my, and Aquastar and Kroger. Contamination. Oh my goodness. Cesium-137, a byproduct of nuclear fission. This tells me just how zombified a population is. When you can have seafood contaminated with a byproduct of nuclear fission, I mean, I don't even know what type of asylum this is now. The action required: consumers should check recalled lot codes and return or discard products immediately. So if you get radioactive shrimp, don't worry about a lawsuit, just discard it, because you ain't going to get a lawsuit. Believe me, we are the experiments. I'm trying not to be an experiment, to get out of experiment mode. Divine Hazel, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure seeing you. The FDA issued multiple recalls on the frozen imported shrimp. Now, I don't eat shrimp. I haven't eaten it for a long time. It did taste good, but I'm just not on the seafood tip. Maybe some mackerel or something, but yeah, as far as the shellfish, I'm not messing with that. There was always something a little odd about that. I mean, the fact that mussels and clams and all of that filter the water. Look up in I think it's over in some part of northern Northwest Asia, which I think they might call Europe. I don't know if it's in the Netherlands, which is Holland, which is what we call Holland. They call it the Netherlands. It's some area around there where they have clams in a system that actually can detect pollutants in the water because they're that sensitive. And when they detect them, they shut their shells, which shuts the water off. It's an ingenious system. You know, I got to hand it to some of the people over in those countries that actually take into account what we can accomplish when we work with nature instead of against it. So the clams, you know, can detect micro particles in the water. I mean, this is just the truth. And they can detect when water has been contaminated. Now, the sanity question of it, right, is that how do people actually justify and allow the pollutant of what they're saying polluted these shrimps, the byproduct of nuclear fission? So when they're creating something, they're just throwing it in the water. It's sort of like, wait a second. The fish and the stuff caught in, you know, that water is gonna, you know, it's gonna spread, man. And nobody cares. These are the people with the weapons, with the artillery that pointed at you and say, hey, you better move along. We're doing what we want to do. We tell you what to do. You don't tell us what to do. People still haven't come into that part of reality. They're still in fantasy island, thinking that the government is going to do what they tell them to do. No, we do what the government tells us to do under threat of death or imprisonment. Right? Isn't that what it is? If somebody says that's not what it is, we can present all of the instances in which it did result in death or imprisonment of a civilian, or better yet said, not even a civilian. It seems like we're more like denizens. So we're denizens that inhabit the land of some entity that poses as a government, and it keeps switching humans in and out of it. I mean, when you look at Biden, who was the previous president-elect, I mean, I don't know if that guy was even conscious during his 4 years as president. And then Kamala, what is a Kamala? I don't even know. They said she was district attorney or whatever. And of course, I mean, the fact that she didn't come out to address her voters who were waiting for her after her defeat in this last election said a lot. It said a lot about the care. And the saddest thing is to see the people that she dissed to the face still care about her. That's the real tragedy right there. To see somebody, I mean, I personally, when you look at the fact that when you look at what they presented to us, it was basically the choice of, hey, you want to be shot or you want to be stabbed, one or the other. And that's basically what it was. And a lot of people were happy with the choice. They're like, hey, at least we got a choice. This is your average American. This is your, hey, at least we got a choice. They're telling us, hey, we can get shot or we can get stabbed. So we can choose. It's not just one. And they're going to tell you, hey, at least we're free. At least we got the Second Amendment. I heard Trump voters is now they're now trying to go against the Second Amendment, which of course was always a lie. All of these amendments, all of these constitutional written down things is like telling somebody a get well card makes you better. The get well card don't make you better. You make yourself better. The Constitution makes you free the way a get well card makes you better. Yeah. And yeah, there's some pretty good videos. Hopefully they're still up on YouTube, Divine, where they talk about every single so-called first lady. Yeah. It gets ugly. I mean, if you just type in pictures of Barbara Bush, I mean, that's brutal. It's brutal. And Trump, if it wasn't for immigrants, we already know Trump wouldn't have any wives. I mean, all of his wives, Marla Maples is sus. All of these people, when you look at them, type in a picture of Marla Maples and tell me that ain't some German dude with long hair. You know, a lot of people, you making jokes or whatever. Yeah, it's a joke, right? Yeah, all jokes have a bit of truth in it. You know, they say that it is all of the first ladies or the so-called first whatever, and then all Bond girls too. So every chick that has played the position of a Bond girl, they've put under investigation just to check. Yeah, and they never will. Yeah, they will never intend on having, you know, even if they did, and this is where I'm at, Divine. This is where I'm at. Even if they did, that person would not be running the country. It would just be a fountainhead, kind of like the Ayn Rand book, Fountainhead. It's where she made a very good point in that, you know, they will produce a newspaper, they will put an art exhibit of something that's totally trash and say, if you don't see the value in this art that looks like trash, then you're just not cultured. You come from a lesser culture. So now you have people that will pretend that they see the value in a piece of junk, like the banana that somebody put on the thing and then taped the banana on, and they said it was worth what? I mean, it was ridiculous when I think about that. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says, thoughts on the guy who got iced by ICE. He got disarmed by them, then offed in the back of his head. Now Trump voters are against the Second Amendment. Thank you, Alexis, bro. This is such a real, needed to be asked question, man. I appreciate it, bro. The fact that, and you put it up just right when I was saying the second, yeah, they're going against the Second Amendment. So the same people that would fly flags and say they're voting for Trump because of the Second Amendment are now so zombified that they're against it. And this is my thought on it. This is deeply my thought. I had mentioned it on the previous stream, but nobody caught it. All they did was attack me. But it's when you look at it, I asked the host, I said, you don't find it odd? I found it odd before the second guy. This happened recently. The first lady, I found it odd that her last name was Good. So in other words, now the story was they killed Good. They killed Renee Good. Or, you know, they killed someone named Good. So in other words, what would kill Good? Only bad. Only bad would kill Good. So Good, that was the first thing that I thought, that's odd. Her last name is Good. Then when I saw this guy's last name was Pretty, and they had a thing up earlier with Pretty good, like a thumbnail somebody had up. So it's like, this is what they've done. And I'm looking at that like pretty good. And I'm saying there's no way that's a coincidence. And this is maybe I'm just touching on something that might be nothing, but I'm just putting it out there. What are the chances are the two people that get offed that their last names are pretty and good? That's all I'm saying. Like if somebody had a thing, I don't use AI really. I mean, I don't like to use it. I don't really see, unless you're doing math or something, I just don't see the purpose. I mean, yeah, they can answer questions, but it can be wrong. You have to do your research. You have to. It might be able to help you. I don't know, but you got to do your research. That's the only way to really know for sure. And then you got to research the people that did the research. This is just part of life. It's just what it is, if you want to get real answered. So when I look at the thing, what Alexis is saying, and yeah, I hear what my thoughts on the guy who got iced by ICE is, I didn't look at the full story. I did hear that, the basic stuff, but what caught my attention was his name, ICE. Pretty. So we had Pretty. I guess his name was Alex or something. Pretty, and then Renee Good was the lady. And the fact that this has happened so quickly, it makes me wonder what is going on that I'm not seeing right now. What is happening that I just don't see it? To where I'm like, okay, there has to be other things going on, maybe nuclear spills, contaminations, pollution, who knows what's going on. Remember when Trump first was getting into office, the Dakota pipeline, they had troops, American troops. They had pictures of literally people in BDUs, strapped up, full military gear. And it was in North Dakota to defend that pipeline. Not many people talked about that. They were just happy that Trump was trying to put a pipeline through there. I mean, and they didn't care about a leak, or if the pipeline has a leak over here. So in the ocean, if a ship crashes or oh my goodness, it spilled all this oil onto the ocean, which is crazy. But on the land, it can have an effect too. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, Alexis says, is ICE out of control? In my opinion, I think honestly, they were created that way. So when we got a thing to look at it, okay, are we going to say it's out of control, or is that the way it was meant to operate? It's kind of like when people say the system isn't broken, it was built that way. I think ICE was built this way. When we look at the whole creation of it, and this is the odd thing, that just a few years earlier, Biden was busing immigrants to New York City to the point where the mayor started impounded the buses. What did they do? They raided the mayor, Eric Adams, who is not the mayor anymore. So when I look at that, ICE being out of control, it's definitely on somebody looking at it from the outside, totally, I would say that, in my opinion, it's out of control. But as far as saying that, could it have been created that way? That is a very realistic point that I have to look at. Is that, is just to say something. This is like, it's so out of control. It is so off the handle. But is that off the handleness orchestrated? Is it orchestrated to where they're like, hey, you know what? Just keep pushing forward with the plan. Keep pushing. At this point, I'm not even sure what's going on with the two people that they offed. Because when I look at that, it really makes me wonder. It's like, wow, that's kind of odd. It keeps sticking for some reason. Sometimes they say the universe will keep putting stuff in your face until you realize or notice it. But it it came out when I first saw her last name, Good. And then once I saw his, I said, you got to be kidding me, Pretty. And then somebody put it in a thumbnail, Pretty Good, with both their pictures. And I'm saying, yeah, this is, could that name, Pretty and Good, be something that is mentally influencing the Trump supporters? Like Pretty Good. They did a pretty good job. ICE did a pretty, I mean, remember, this subliminal programming works in very odd ways. It works in deceitful, downright disgusting ways. If you think about the experiments that they've done on many types of animals and life forms, but also on humans. That's what people don't realize. We've been basically, it's as if we're an experiment right now. When we just look at the food and the medical system and the schooling system, I mean, it's very, very, very experimental. We look at other countries on stuff that happened, the World War II thing. When I see people that try to like push up Hitler as if he was a good guy or something, but they forget the fact that he experimented on people. They experiment on people. I mean, let me see if the experiment two halves of a person together. Now, this is a horrific experiment. I typed in, did Nazis set sew together two halves of a person, right? And it says, yes, there are accounts that Nazi doctor Joseph Mengele attempted to sew two Romanian twins back to back at Auschwitz in an attempt to create conjoined twins. I mean, what type of a monster is this? Just even if anybody today, any country, two people, so twins, they're fine, everything is normal, and he's going to sew them together to create conjoined twins. I mean, this is like some horrible stuff. And when I hear people trying to push Hitler as not being someone that oh well, it just shows me where they're at. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says, Biden bust in millions of illegals. Then Trump caused chaos getting rid of them. Trump and Biden are on the same team, but who is giving them the orders? Absolutely, man. That's an excellent conclusion to come to. And it basically is where the evidence points toward Trump and Biden being on the same team. Exactly. But who is giving them the orders? Who is behind the scenes? So there is definitely someone behind the scenes, because we see, and it's great that you spot this automatically. You see the way one busts them in, the other one tried to get rid of them. And they're definitely on the same team. But who is giving these guys the orders? Who's behind the scene? What group is behind the scene? You know, when you think about it, what group was behind the scene? You know, and I'm not saying, Magic Man, that other people weren't off the handle. I'm not saying that. This is a tactic that people use to get somebody to forget the previous atrocities. So when somebody says that other people were doing messed up stuff, which I'm not saying was good if they were doing that. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that's a whole different case in itself. It should not be meant to use to take the focus off of what Mengele was doing and what other people were doing. So, and there's definitely a lot of patterns that we do need to look at. I'm not saying that we shouldn't look at them. I'm just saying that these things need to be looked at, and they need to be documented and need to be spoken about in a context that we can have a conversation about it without blaming. like I said, we got two choices. We can either blame or look for the cause. The blame is the lower, barbaric, uncivilized way to look at something, to blame. To look for the cause of why the person exhibited that behavior that they would be blamed for. That's a higher way of looking at it, because you're saying, what caused that? So we can blame them and say, yeah, they did it. Of course, 2 plus 2 is 4. I mean, that's stating the obvious. That's staying in a low mental state. You know, it's like going to a crime scene. Somebody got ended. Well, no duh. Of course, we see the bodies there and everything. It's like, what else? Oh, well, this guy did that. They blamed him. Okay, why did he do it? That's the detective. Why did he do it? The inspector. You know, and I understand. See, and this is another thing. Let me just debunk that 109 country lie, because it does have a lot of lie to do with it too. There were some countries they were thrown out of it because they didn't want to convert to Catholicism. I think Spain or Portugal. So if somebody doesn't want to convert to your religion and they have to leave the country, that's not a bad reason for leaving. But again, when people are afraid, they'll tack that on. They'll say, put that on as the 109th country right there, you know? So it definitely, there's two sides. And I'm not saying there are countries that were wrong. Their countries might have had a reason, and we say, okay, well, and then again, if they had a reason, it doesn't blame an entire people. It blames that section for doing a certain thing. But then when we look, we say, okay, what's the cause? We don't want to blame them. And we're not blaming everybody. So it's very important to know that. The MAGA Mike, man, thank you for the support, brother. The MAGA Mike says Trump is fixing this country from Biden's chaos, bussing in illegals. Yet he's on the same side. If he was, he would also be importing illegals. Okay, I hear what you're saying. But what Alexis had said earlier, and what I agreed with, is that Biden and Trump are on the same team because they're taking orders from the same person that's behind the scene. So whoever sits in the Oval Office seems to be taking orders from something behind the scenes. This is what we're talking about. And I understand they might be on different sides when it comes to something different like that. But they're on the same side, like different in form of different political parties, but on the same side when it comes to doing what their bosses or their masters, employers, whatever you want to call them, tell them to do. So this is why, and we don't know, like, I don't think illegals have stopped coming into the country. See, that's the thing too. That's a big part of it, where somebody would say, well, wait a second, and this is the thing, Magic Man. You're saying Spain kicked them out and all of that stuff, but and now they're bringing Muslims into some countries, not all. Poland didn't take them in, but nobody's blaming the people in office. That's the oddest thing. Why aren't they blaming the people in France and England in office that is allowing this to happen? Right? It's very, if you look at it, it's akin to what they're trying to play on Americans. They try to get them to be mad at the people coming into the country. And I'm not saying it's good. If somebody is coming in to do bad things, messed up. Yeah, it's not good. But now let's look into it a little further and say, well, who let them in? No, nothing to be said about that guy. And I understand MAGA Mike, he did point out, yeah, Biden without a doubt openly did it. I think Trump has some coming in too. I think he does. All these ICE debts are Biden's fault maxed out. Wow, how? He caused this in the first place, importing these criminals. But wait a minute. Now, this is what confuses me, Mega Mike. How is, all right, he caused this in the first place, importing these criminals. Now, were the two people that were ended in Minnesota, were they imported criminals, or were they American born citizens? That would be my first question to ask. Because if those were two natural born Americans that were offed, now we got a whole different problem, because they weren't brought in illegally. They weren't criminals that were imported. So basically, now we got a whole other thing saying, well, what is ICE about? The two people that they ended are not even immigrants, and they weren't hostile. So, and yeah, they could be brainwashed liberals, and I could understand that too. I can told to protest against federal agents, but don't we have the right, according to the amendments, to protest? Just when I think about it, it's like we're supposed to be able to do that if the country's civilized. If you protest in a country and they kill you, what's the difference between that and one of these other dictatorships then? Is that what we give you ice cream with it or something? It's like, well, I don't understand the difference there. I just and the politicians, and I have to admit, Magic Man, the girl, the infant, right, that got the head that beheaded, right, and the French teacher, right. It is horrible. It is horrible. And what I would have to say about that stuff about the French teacher and the lady, the kid, I guess that's in Ireland. I think that it's horrible, man. I mean, that shows you a danger right there with those particular people. It's not going to be all people. It's not going to be all people of that religion, but we do have some we have more than just some nutcases. You have a lot. I'll be honest about that. And it's not even, see how you say, bro, I blame the politicians, right? Remember, it's not the blaming. Blaming ain't going to get us as much information as looking for the cause. So the cause of it is, part of the cause is the politicians. So the girl in Ireland, what happened, and you know what was the weird thing? I think it happened in the UK too. I think a little girl, I don't know if it's the same instance. I think it's different. She got beheaded by a Muslim nanny, and the lady got out in like 5 years. I think she's out. And she went around holding up the child's head in the street. I mean, it was horrible. I think people can still find some of the images. I mean, horrible. And she gets out in 5 years. It's like, holy smoke. And no, this is what I'm saying. Where are the British people talking to their government about that? I mean, maybe the Brits already know that it's always been plantation. I'm not sure. And that's the thing. MAGA Mike, I don't think there's any rights, man. Colin was right. We got privileges, man. And they can take them away. Yeah, and it should have been more riots. Man. It should have been more than just, I mean, a riot ain't really changing nothing. Yeah, and without a doubt, they're weaponizing people. They are weaponizing people. And this is so good that people are seeing that. They see, and this is where it comes to time, and America always talks about it in a different way, because we always try to be like, Americans, we got to do something. Well, where's the right to bear arms at that point? I mean, if France, what do they talk? France try to act all gangster, talking about they're going to have them swinging at the gallows or bring back a guillotine. Meanwhile, we already see how they have tucked their tails between their legs and walked away. And now France has been known for some revolutionary stuff. France, to give them their credit, I think it was France that protested the building of new prisons back in the day by putting, I think it was a ratio of a certain amount of sugar in cement, and it doesn't let the cement set. So if you're going to build a prison out of cement, it's not going to work if they manage to put these bags of sugar in, I guess to the right ratio. I don't know if it's a 5-pound bag to a ton of cement. I'm not sure, but that's what's great about the internet. Anybody can look into the story and see what exactly happened. But the French were all about protest and stuff. They were about it, and all of a sudden they just kind of, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to them. Because remember, in World War II, a lot of the art and the creators of art, the hub for that was in Prague, Czechoslovakia. And I think they moved a lot of that. I spoke with somebody over in Europe, and they said, yeah, all of that stuff was moved to France. That's why Hitler was inching his way, crawling over to France, trying to steal something again. Because again, when people try to put him on a pedestal, he ain't nothing more than a common thief. He's a common thief with a backer. That's basically what it was. Magic Man says Jimi Hendrix did a vote. No, I've never. All right, let me type that in. Jimi Hendrix picture. All right, Jimi Hendrix pic of Elvis. All right, Jimmy. All right, a Jimi Hendrix. Holy smokes! Wait a second. Holy smokes, bro. Wow, Magic Man, I got to thank you for bringing this to my attention. Holy freaking smokes. Wait a minute. Did a 12-year-old Jimi Hendrix make crayon drawing of Elvis after seeing him perform? And you are so right. This is a drawing of Elvis Presley by a 14-year-old Jimi Hendrix after seeing him in concert, and it looks like Trump playing a guitar. You got to be kidding me, bro. Wow. And they got a picture of Elvis. Elvis being in the military was such a promotional draft item. I can't even believe if this is real, if they were on stage together. Jimi Hendrix jams with Elvis Presley, Woodstock, 1969. Wow. I'm trying to get where you're going with this, Magic Mike. Please expound on that. MAGA Mike, brother, thank you for the support, bro. The MAGA Mike says, you cannot deny they are importing all these immigrants to replace whites. They hate when whites fight for our race and stand up for our people. I don't think that that's totally true, man. I mean, when you look at it, right? I don't think now that they're importing these people. Part of it, what you're saying here makes some sense. You're importing these people. But to replace somebody, I don't think it's to totally replace them, because remember, a lot of the majority of what would be called white people in America live in poverty, right? I think. I mean, I could type it in. Do the majority of white Americans live in poverty? Or I should say below the majority of the poverty line. Okay, so here it's saying no. It's saying no. The majority of white Americans do not live in poverty, right? So it's saying here, in 2020, the poverty rate for non-Hispanic whites were 8.2%, which is significantly below 50%. While a large number of white Americans, roughly about 20 million, do live below the poverty line, this represents a small minority of the total white population. So if they're not living in poverty, right? What I'm thinking about is, all right, they're not living in poverty, so they wouldn't be replacing those white people when they come. If those white people were in poverty, well, then these people are coming in on that level. So really, it seems like they're coming in to replace who? Because I've said it in many parts of New York. They import Mexican and Central American people because a lot of people in America, a lot of these people who feel a certain kind of way don't want to see a black man on the front of their lawn. They would rather see a Mexican. They would rather see somebody who's a little bit more, for lack of a better word, watered down. They don't want them to be that dark. Make them brown and, with straight hair. They can tolerate that on their front lawn. And when you look at the people that they're replacing, it's replacing lower level labor. Now, being that statistics is saying here that no, it's only about, if 10%. So they're not really taking their jobs, right? So we don't see that to be totally lining up with the truth. They're not taking the wealth from them. So really, I think that what they might be saying might not be as inaccurate. It might not be as accurate. And yeah, I do see things where Elvis was a natural blonde. I want to show this picture of Trump, of Jimi Hendrix thing, man. This is crazy. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Alexis says, thoughts about white power movement, Proud Boys. I remember they popped up, like 10 years ago, right? And then they kind of just disappeared. I think when they chopped the head off the leader, what was it? Gavin Newsom? Newsom, is it? Let me check. Gavin Newsom. Okay, Newsom. Wait, no. Is that it? No, Proud Boys. Okay. Proud Boys. California Governor Gavin Newsom. Who is the guy that runs? That guy with the mustache and the glasses. Who is that guy? That weird looking dude, like right out of the Muppets or something, that used to run the Proud Boys. Gavin McGinnis. Thank you, Magic Man. Gavin McGinnis. And this is the crazy thing. When I remembered Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California. Doesn't that name sound a little familiar? Newsom, right? Newsom, like what would put a noose around him? Just Newsom, boys. Newsom. You're very odd. But now Gavin McGinnis. Let me look up this guy. Okay, McGinnis. Yeah, this guy is like straight. I mean, this guy is Inkwell City. Holy smokes. It makes you wonder. I had said it on the show before this, that these guys, it's always the guys that that always have Gavin McGinnis. He created Vice magazine? Get out of here. Isn't Vice supposed to be like a left magazine, Mark? Gavin McGinnis created that? Wait, McGinnis. Okay, yeah. So he created Vice magazines. And the second was a black Cuban guy. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. The fact that it's, I just, you can't make it up, man. See, this, I got to find a way to show this picture. Holy smokes. I don't know. I guess I could show Google. But I need a close-up of this picture more. Where is there a picture with Jimi Hendrix? And because this, I tell you, Magic Man, the fact that you brought this up, I think it was you. Look up the picture, MD. Tell me who it looks like. Yeah, it was, Magic Man. Can you expound on where this is going? Because this is very, this is, I'm trying to look at this. I'm trying to download a decent picture of it because, of course, this picture was drawn, I guess, in the 60s. Um, I just, you got to be kidding me. All right, Trump, Jimi Hendrix. All right, I'm saving it. I'm gonna upload it, and this is Magic Man. You gotta let me know more info about this. So you're telling me who it looks like. Now it does look like Trump. It definitely does. Now this is a picture that Magic Man just told me to look up. Right. So he told me to look this up, and it's a picture of Jimi Hendrix that Jimi Hendrix drew of Elvis when he was 12, right? Now, when I look at this, I can't even believe that this is almost a picture of what, I mean, this looks like Trump. This really does look like Trump in this picture. And this is a picture from what they say by Jimi Hendrix when he was 12 of Elvis, watching Elvis play the guitar. This is shocking, man. And I'm trying to figure it out because, also when you look at Elvis, there's a thing. If you look at Elvis's face, there's a similarity to the Statue of Liberty's face too, the cheeks and stuff like that. You can type them in and check it out. Elvis Trump. Oh. And it's something. Are you sure this isn't just a picture of young Trump? Well, this is why I'm thinking it might not be Alexis's. I typed in Jimi Hendrix picture of Elvis on Google. And when you go and you type that into Google and you press images, more than one pops up. The first one is, this is a drawing of Elvis Presley by a 14-year-old Jimi Hendrix after seeing him in concert. So it's not saying 12 on that one. That's the first one. Another one is saying, did 12-year-old Jimmy make a crayon drawing after seeing? Another one is Jimi Hendrix picture. Another one says 14. I had a picture with Jimmy in England with Elvis and John Lennon. But yeah, the original face of the Liberty face was a black woman, I think. It's in Brooklyn. They still have it in the museum here, unless you got a different picture. Trump loves Elvis, constantly brings him up. But you know what, too? Because, of course, Trump was alive when Elvis was alive. There is some very odd stuff going on about that. There's some really, really odd stuff. When I look at this, and Alexis, please, if you can, look up Jimi Hendrix picture of Elvis. You'll find, there's just so many. In 1957, a 14-year-old made this drawing of Elvis after watching his concert from a nearby hill because he couldn't afford a ticket. So there's a lot of stuff popping up about this. Put the original face of Liberty in Google image. It's different. Wait, all right. The original face. All right, let me look it up. The original face of the Statue of Liberty, right? Okay. Oh, yeah. That original face looking mad Elvis up on there. I've always said many times, I'm not sure if that's a man or a woman in that statue. Wow. You know what? I think you might have something here even more because it's not showing the wow. They're trying to say it's from a woman, but it's very androgynous. And it does have some Ellie. It has some Elvis up in there. It's definitely got some Elvis or Elohim. Yeah. You might be right about that. Holy smokes. In Brooklyn, Museum, because there's another one that's in gold, and this one was, they say it was supposed to be of a woman, a black woman, but this one even looks kind of masculine, man. It's like, what the heck is going on here? The deeper you look, I mean, the closet is ridiculous with these dudes. It's like everywhere. But yeah, even the replica of the full scale face of, yeah, that one's even looking kind of Ellie. Elvis is, and it's so weird because they said that, you know what else they say that they that is similar to the Elvis thing was they made the aliens in Prometheus, the engineers. They used, when they asked them why did you make them look the way they look, they said they used a combination of different faces. One of them was Elvis. And I think one could have been Statue of Liberty. But well, now that I'm looking at the Statue of Liberty ones that you're talking about, very close, bro. Very close. Holy smokes, man. Let me see if I can save this one. This one I think is a different one. Oh, it's a web file. These bastards. This is like, let me see if I can save this one. This one is just okay, this one here. I mean, Elvis, and I appreciate that with the Jimi Hendrix thing, man. I wouldn't go as far as saying he's a fallen angel, but possibly being used for something. It's possible though. I can't rule it out. Been getting into this very lately. There's a guy who does side-by-side comparisons and their face matches down to little blemishes. Claims they are the falling being worshipped through Hollywood. Wow. That's something I gotta yeah, that is kind of it's kind of deep when you think about it, man. The whole I mean, this whole form, when I look at this Trump thing, has just got me it's kind of got me, I have to look into this, man. The fact that Jimi Hendrix drew this picture here of what he thought was Elvis at a concert, and it looks just like Trump for some reason. And this is the face of the Statue of Liberty. I mean, there's something very odd about this. And, you know, there was something also because you notice it has a negative canthal tilt. So the outer edges of the eyes are lower than the inner. And they've said that some Egyptian pharaoh mask actually show that too. Like there's something with the negative canthal tilt about that is that's kind of odd. Wow, man. This is yeah, when you look at the face, the original face of the Statue of Liberty here, it looks it definitely is looking close to Ellie. Yeah, it's kind of Elvis. Elvis may not have left the building. And then the fact that this guy is going to draw, I mean, this is kind of odd, man. This is very, very odd. It just Elvis and Trump, I found the Jimi Hendrix pics on my own, though. The fact that you found the Jimi Hendrix pic on your own, you got to think to yourself, Magic Man, how did you find it? Like, what could have led you to find that? There's just, I mean, what is this? There has to be a significance of it. The fact that that looks so close. Like, why would, I mean, it's just a little too odd when I look at this. It's just a little too odd, man. And yeah, okay, one could say Elvis, whatever, the hairstyle. But, you know, the fact that, okay, he was a natural blonde, but, you know, Trump is more like an orange blonde, or what they would call, I guess, a strawberry blonde. He's not like a regular blonde, like a yellow blonde, the banana blonde. And then, of course, they got the platinum blonde, you know, that very light blonde that most people pursue, like their life is trying to get closer to that. I remember I dated a girl, her hair was like kind of brownish, and she told me, she goes, oh, it gets blonder in the summer. And I'm thinking, I'm like, who cares? You know, who really cares? It's like, It's like I've seen some blonde hair, blue eyed women that do not look very attractive. They actually look like some type of creature out of Ghostbusters or something. Now, there are some that are very pretty, extremely attractive. Like blondes on average are not pretty to me. But when you do find a pretty blonde, she's exceptionally pretty. Like, I mean, on another level to where very hard for even pretty girls of different hair colors to touch her. I mean, when a pretty girl is a pretty girl, no matter the color of her hair, her eyes, her skin, she's going to be pretty regardless. Those features don't lie, you know, especially when you look at the petiteness and other things that go along with what would be considered feminine traits. Dutch Black Pill, good to see you, brother. Megatron's face looks like Trump's face. Let me look that up, bro. And I know you had left a comment. I thought it was earlier today. I thought you left a comment. Oh, yeah, here it was. RoboCop 3 is a film in 1993, 33 years ago. Tap on YouTube the title RoboCop 3, Defending the Church Scene. So what am I looking for here, Dutch Black Pill? Let me see again. Tap on YouTube title RoboCop 3. Okay, RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 Defending the Church Scene. What am I looking for? If there's anything you can fill me in on with this, all these advertisements, it just yeah, this is a tough one. It's freaking ads, man. Okay, so he's defending the church. Is there anything specific that I should be looking for in this scene of RoboCop defending the church? Okay, there's people hiding in the church. He sees all these people hiding in the church. So he's saying, all right, so I see what you're saying here on this never oppose. All right, so did they shoot her? Oh, they did. Oh, so they tore her up. Oh my goodness. Oh, they tore her up, man. Is that what you wanted me to see? The fact that they tore up the female officer that had Murphy's back, right? Megatron's. Well, let me look at Megatron's face. Megatron's face. I don't see it right away. I don't see. Maybe in the cartoon, it might have a little bit of the Elvis in there. Yeah, I don't really see it as much as I do with the statue on maybe on some of the older cartoons, maybe. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. It could be. It could be. But you know, Megatron, when we look at what the Transformers, what are they fighting over? The cube, right? And there's a character in biblical history called Metatron. And funny enough, Metatron has a cube, the cube of Metatron. So when I look at this stuff, I say, man, you know, it's like how Magic Man is saying Trump, you know, is, you know, some people say an androgynous fallen angel, but could it be somehow like, yeah, like you're saying, it's some form of worship? I mean, the fact that Megatron and all of this stuff, like there definitely is some form of worship going on. And the saddest thing is just like the religion of evolution. If you don't even know you're in a religion, Man, it's like that's twice the work because you got to wake up to find that out. To say, oh, okay, I'm in a religion I didn't even know I was. So Trump and that, man, this is, there's another one I wanted to show. Scribe, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man.
Oh, man, how's it going?
It's all right, man. Magic Man kind of woke me up to something. He said he found it on his own. This is the amazing thing, that you found the Jimi Hendrix picture on your own. Jimi Hendrix drew a picture of Elvis Presley, they're saying. And they're saying this picture was drawn in the 50s. He couldn't make it to the concert, so he drew up. Now, there's many pictures of this online that anybody can look up. And then Magic Man tells me, who does it look like? This is the picture here that Jimi Hendrix drew, I think, in the 50s.
Wow.
Right? That's just,
Straight Trump.
I'm like, how? How? And then he goes, look up the original face on Statue of Liberty. Bang. Looking straight Ellie. Definitely kind of some Elvis type of
Straight up Elvis.
yeah. And then for this, I mean, I'm trying to put the pieces together to find out, like, and Magic Man said he found it on his own. Like,
I mean, it could be that Dean guy, but the big face looks more Trumpish. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely something something is odd there.
Well,
That
if you look at the Illuminati playing cards, I mean, that is just in your face. Like, you gotta be joking.
yeah. Yeah, that one too. And yeah, I could see what Dutch Blackpill is saying about the Megatron cartoon picture looking a little Elvisy, but I mean these pictures with the Statue of Liberty and stuff are just off the handle. I mean this Jimi Hendrix picture, I don't even know what. I'm just like, wow. I mean the fact that Jimi Hendrix saved that picture. They said he was like 14 when he drew that. I mean, it's
Wow.
very odd, very very odd. I don't know if
Well,
yeah, anything's on your mind or yeah.
yeah, I was hearing earlier, what's his name? MAGA, what's his name? MAGA Mike?
Uh-huh.
He's talking about, so, Biden brought all these illegals and all this, and now Trump's trying to fix it and whatever. And like, there again, like, so if we look at it from the standpoint that we understand there is one bird in the middle of this two left and right wings, right? So left and right, what's the middle? You got the bird, which is the people that control the wings, obviously. You need to look at this as a consecutive, linear, um, long plan that, when you look at it as independent presidencies, they appear to be doing different stuff, but when you put them all together, you see a long linear uh, outcome from this whole thing, because it was mostly apparent after 9/11, after we saw the Patriot Act and all these things came in, and then all these new laws, whatever, and then we couldn't say nothing, whatever, and all that stuff, and then so when you look at each consecutive term after that, and you put them all together, regardless if they're left or right, you'll see a pattern emerge. You'll see, oh, this was the whole outcome after all, but it took several presidencies of supposed opposition to create this. And apparently these two guys were at war with each other, but yet they produced this. But yet they won't go back and remove the Patriot Act. They won't go back and remove the income tax. They won't go back and remove all these things that were instilled from the beginning to be an agenda from the beginning, as in that was planned. It's just two different people in there, supposedly from different ideologies, against each other, that are doing this. So it's the perfect way to stage an event, to say, look, he wasn't involved. He's a Democrat. Oh, he's a Republican. Or he's what? So this dualist algorithm that I was talking about before, that there can never be unification, because only in monarchies you'll have unification that have true ownership, or true we would call sovereign. King, queen do not pay for do not pay taxes on their property or any of that stuff. They actually own the land. Unlike us, we have to pay for even our car. It'll get taken. So um, just looking at the progression of how the left and right go at it, You need to put those puzzle pieces together so you see the true outcome of this. Because for me, it was 9/11 was so apparent, and all these things chained together, all these different presidents that were supposedly at odds with each other, they just line up, and they never go back and say, look, I'm going to take out this or fix this. It's always surface level stuff, and it's never the true underlying stuff. The Federal Reserve, knowing it's a private corporation, knowing that there's nothing federal about it, and knowing that it's in charge of printing and all this stuff, and printing at at an interest where that should not be there. And then we find out where's this interest coming from. Then we find out it's non-American entities that are doing this. So it goes very deep. But the man, I'm not sure if I've met you. What's going on, bro? If you want to say something.
Yeah, I want to say something. MD Scribe, I show you the Robocop 3, the movie, the church scene. It is more symbolic. It is something to do with that people, higher people want, I say it, they want to make a utopia. Delta City, you must see the movie Robocop 3. And you see, normal people in the church hiding. The ICE agents say the people in the church are terrorists, and this movie is like a documentary, and it is symbolic. That's my message.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
I hear you, man. The man met the hammer. Is that the man with the hammer in Dutch?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good to see you, man. Always, man. He's been with us from back in the day, man. Scribe doesn't remember your name. Yeah, you've been with us for a long time, man. I gotta thank the Mega Mike, man. Thank you for the support, brother. The Mega Mike says, but Scribe, which side is better or more rational, importing illegals or deporting illegals? You see why I'm on the side that I'm on. Scribe, if you.
Yeah, there's no rationale about it. They want you to observe it as something that should be rationalized, and it should be an obvious answer for it. But when you put it together, as in when there's a hidden agenda saying, okay, we want you to bring in a bunch of people during the Biden time, and then all of a sudden we want Trump to come in and then remove them all. I don't think it's just that's whenever they say they're doing a plan, I've always noticed they're saying they're doing this, but they actually are doing something else. So I'm thinking they're using that as like some kind of a smoke screen or something for some other thing that gives, this ICE thing some other access that we don't know about. Who knows? But I think it's definitely part of some long-term thing that we're not seeing yet. So we might see this in the next presidency to come up with. We can connect the dots. Oh, that's why they did that. So we saw that clearly again from 9/11 till now. We saw along, the puzzle pieces just kept coming together, regardless if it was Obama or Bush or whoever was in office. We saw how that all came together, but it appeared that these two things are, opposing each other. Like the most ridiculous one was the Kerry and Bush thing, both member of Skull and Bones, right? They only allow 15 members a year, apparently. And Kerry is Bush's cousin. And they're supposedly going at it, Democrat, Republican. And it's just, at this point, and again, it makes no sense to have these temporary roles. I mean, if you're going to fix a problem, you don't do it this way at all. You don't have two different opposing teams going at it. One messes stuff up. The one's got to come in and clean that up. They mess something up. The other one comes in and clean it. It's like you have this nonstop, endless cycle of what just. But it appears that way right now. But trust me, it's for something in the future that we don't see right now that this all leads up to. So this also is very, like what David Icke says, the totalitarian tiptoe, the problem, reaction, solution. So it's a lot of these type of games they play to where they want to, they'll actually create the problem to then you ask for the solution and they'll use that to, so very clever ways to get you to think that you're fighting for your side when you're actually fulfilling the agenda. They just do it in a slower, more methodical, more genius way of doing it. So it's crazy. But go ahead.
I hear you, man. And good to see you, Dutch Black Pill, man. It's been a while, man. I hope everything's going good in the Netherlands for you.
Oh yeah, okay, now I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the tall
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're like 6'9", right? If you're there,
I'm 6'9".
Demand.
Yes.
Yeah. We remember you, man. You're definitely
Uh,
one of the crew. You're one of the family, man. It's always you were such a friendly person, and I thank you for bringing up the picture. You know, like with the Elvis thing that you said was close to Megatron, and it very much is. I'm trying to find a very close comparison. This picture here, I have a better one, but I don't know where mine is. I've been looking for mine. I downloaded this. How they're saying this is an ancient picture from I thought it was from Persepolis. It's from the Epiphanes, trying to see King Antiochus of Commagene. I thought it was somewhere around Turkey or somewhere. I'm just not too sure. But when I look at that, it looks there is a similarity. And then this one, I don't know where this one. Let me see if I can find out. I don't know the country. Where was this from? Can we get a? I think this is a Greek
Yeah,
sculpture.
that one looks a lot more. Yeah, because the other one was like, this one definitely the hair with the face. Yeah, that one's a lot more.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
one.
this one it's like,
the lips, the cheeks. This one here, yeah, it just yeah. You're right. The hair, and you know what they say is they try to say that the eyebrows, the brow on the ridge continues to grow like the nose. So if you see, and this is the argument against Neanderthals, if you see someone with an extended eyebrow ridge, like a skeleton with that, that could mean that that skeleton is hundreds of years old. And this is another thing that they don't want people to really look into. Yeah, Dutch. You had some, Dutch? Yeah, I didn't. I didn't
very interesting.
Right? Yeah, it's very. Yeah, it's
the face of a.
They had some other ones with Michael Jackson. Yeah. Richard says, Max Doubt, what's up, man? Just wanted to let you know. Oh man, Be Brave is banned. And you know, I was trying to tell him he's got to back off because you know you got to stay within the guidelines of YouTube. Hope everyone is staying safe in the snow. Man, I shoveled snow twice already. It was brutal. Had a lot of snow. It was like 12 degrees, it's 17 degrees right now. But I know Dutch Black Pill is used to the cold weather. It's there's a strength in the cold weather. I have to admit that. There's something in the cold that I love, but it's also you know, and I loved the Netherlands when I was there. It's been over a decade. I hope it's the same. Do they still have the smart shops over there? Or do they have the smart shops still or no?
Yeah.
I want to visit them again. There was one on, I forgot the name of the street.
Amsterdam.
What you say?
In Amsterdam, maybe.
In Amsterdam. Yeah,
I live in the north and in the.
Oh, okay. You live in the north, away from the city, more toward the dam. Toward the coastal?
Friesland. I live in Friesland.
Okay, yeah. So that's more.
Afsluitdijk, Friesland. Perfect.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I go back,
and I can say to everyone. Yeah. I can say to everyone, see the movie Robocop 3, and I know what the higher people want. They want a Delta City, no crime, no poverty. You see in the intro, in the beginning of the movie Robocop 3, you see Utopia, Delta City, and maybe Musk and the higher people want rid of the normal people in America and build Delta City with the servers, that kind of thing. I don't know what the great end game is.
Yeah.
I say to everyone, see the movie Robocop 3. The woman is shot. It's like Renee Good. The church.
Yeah.
It's like the protest in the church. The people
Uh-huh.
in the church labeled as terrorists must go to a concentration camp. It's very our reality.
Mhm.
Scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my
Yeah, I hear you.
message, what I want to say to you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely hear you, man. I appreciate it. It's there's so much stuff that's going on that people are waking up to. It's so good that we have the internet so we can all, look through these things and collect information. And yeah, I did look at the heavy Trump, and yeah, very close. I mean, but the Jimi Hendrix picture is just, I mean, it's on another level. And we understand why you're on that side. I've said it before, the MAGA Mike. I've totally said it, that if you have a choice between Kamala and Trump, people are going to run toward Trump, because Kamala, I mean, it's as if they don't understand the democratic process. You have to be voted. You have to be voted into the candidate for that party, which of course she wasn't. It was seeing that Biden was not able to stand. He wasn't able to campaign. I mean, the guy was basically out to lunch, and they threw her in there without doing a proper vote. And I mean, it just shows you that when stuff hits the fan, everything goes out the window. And MAGA Mike, we understand. I understand totally. Yes, you, from what you're seeing from your end, I could see why you're there. If somebody told me, if I had to vote, which I've never voted, if they said, look, you have to vote, which one are you going to vote for? Of course, I'm not going to vote for Kamala. I mean, Kamala, who knows? I mean, Trump is doing some crazy stuff as it is. You can't win either way. It's like being in a prison and voting for which person is going to be the guard. You're still in prison. You're just voting for someone who you think is going to be a better guard to you, under the disguise that you're free. That's the crazy thing. And I don't know, Mike. I don't know, man. I don't want anybody to go full dictator, man. Well, that's the thing. We don't need him to go full dictator to stop pretending we vote our leaders into office. We could do that right now. We could say, look, I don't believe that this is true. Now, I have debates, and sometimes people can call them arguments, with the evolution zombies all the time when they get angry because I ask questions. And that's a great way to test people. Just ask a question. Just say, hey, could this country, and this is a question that rarely gets answered when I ask people. I'm a natural born American citizen from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a United States veteran. And I'm saying, what if everything we were told about this country, what if it really was built on a lie? What if everything we were told were lies, and the people that were put up as good people were actually murderous, psychopathic criminals? What if? I'm just putting it up as a what if, right? People get very shaken by that question. And just the fact that they get shaken by it tells us a lot about how they really feel, and that they would never say. It's like asking a parent if your grandfather was a murderer. If your grandmother hesitates for a second, you know the answer. Right? Any type of hesitation. Now, if she says, well, there was a man who attacked him one day and he had to defend himself, that's understandable. Then I'm like, well, I'm glad grandpa was murdered that guy because he saved his life. But if there's any hesitation, or if there's any action of why are you going in that direction, you get your answer right away. So when you say, what if America was built on lies and thieves and criminals and murder and all of that? And if a person doesn't address the question exactly to say, well, it's a possibility, or maybe it was, or maybe it wasn't. But if they come into defending automatically, well, you know right away, right.
Yeah,
This,
they say they can't talk about that right now. What like they do in Congress.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It just, and to think about if Trump, like MAGA, I understand what Magic Man is saying, but if he does go full dictator, right? And that people, right? And this is this is why, part of the American Zombie name. It's not that we can stop pretending we vote for our leaders, because that's saying in that question or in that statement, it's saying that we're pretending that we vote for our leaders and we don't know. So we can eventually stop pretending. These people know they're pretending. So there's no stop pretending. Remember, the average American, 90% of the people on earth, most likely, but definitely in America, are going to lie to you. They're going to lie to you when you ask them a question because they've lied to themselves their whole life. The average American walks around in a bottle filled with their own lies, and they breathe them in and recycle them every day. And then they have other people make sure that they're still believing in those lies. And this is how the population keeps each other in a state of stupidity, for the lack of a better word. And that's not a derogatory word. It's saying that in a stupor, in a daze. And that's what we see. We see people talking about, hey, this guy is going to change things for us without us having to get off of the couch. So we can sit on the couch. This is basically couch Olympics that we play. We are all in the couch Olympics. Some of us are not playing the game. We're on the couch, but we know that the Olympics is fake. The majority are on the couch with the banners. They've subscribed to the pay-per-view, and they believe that the illusion is real. And it's so sad because it keeps them going for the next 4 years until the next puppet is put in. Now, I can't think about this. I can't even imagine which buffoon they're going to put in next. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to put Trump's son in or something like that. I mean, who is really, think about it, who is going to run for the presidency of the United States in 2 years? Not even 4 anymore. It's 2 years. Who's going to run? Kamala? Yeah.
Give it a few more years, we'll be at that point.
And Magic, I understand what he's saying. Timbo says, I can imagine Trump saying to his cabinet, we need a big, beautiful war before this. Holy smokes, Timbo, you're on point, bro. Magic Man says, I'm not saying him being a dictator is good. Is somebody going to take over and be the front man for the whole thing, just destroy the illusion? Altogether, people aren't going to rise. I don't think this is the thing. He's living too well. I mean, if somebody's a billionaire, right, and you got everything you need for the rest of your life, I mean, you can't help your kids. And this is what I find hilarious. No matter how evil or smart or whatever some guy might be, like Trump or somebody, their kids are going to mess it up. Their kids are going to be idiots. You know that. Look at Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan went around just bussing people in the face. His son gets iced before he can even become a middle-aged man. So now who's he got? A grandson who's a straight sucker, Kublai Khan, who in no way, shape, or form is from the same stock as Genghis Khan. And it eventually slipped away because great men don't give birth. They don't provide seed for a woman to give birth to great children. No matter how great a man is or how like intelligent or sharp he is, his son will always be an idiot. Look, case in point, George Bush Jr. You see it clearly. We see it clear as day. You get one chance. If it's your dad, well, it ain't you. You know, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And I think that's a beautiful thing because no matter how great these guys try to be and how far they try to push their lineage, it's like, listen, bro, it ain't going to go past you. Your son's going to be an idiot. Your grandson's going to be a buffoon. And the rest of your lineage will never come close to what you did. You had your chance. Hey, be happy you had it. And that's it. And that's it. And why would you want anything less? Like when I look through existence, I say to myself, what is existence really trying to teach me? Is it trying to teach me above all else? I feel like it's trying to tell me like, look, man, we've been telling you for eons not to be an idiot. But for some reason, you just persisted being a dumbass. And I am trying not to do that. It's hard because every day I got to battle with ignorance and stupidity. But funny enough, the funny thing is nobody else battles with that. A lot of these guys that argue with me, they don't battle with it, right? They accept ignorance and stupidity. You know, it's just what they are. Mr. X, my brother, thank you for the support, bro. I appreciate it so much, man. Mr. X says support. Yeah, I look at it as every day, stupidity and ignorance are so relentless that if I don't keep my guard up and keep thinking, next thing I know, you stop thinking, you become a zombie. Now, from thinking a lot, you might be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you have to keep it going because, like, example of my friend where he just completely zombified after, you know, we went through that journey of 9/11 and uncovering all that stuff, and he just went right back to it. I'm like, wow. So now I'm looking at this whole thing. Remember the yin and the yang symbol, the black and white, the two dots, you know, having white and black in each one. In the chessboard as well, representing a similar the checkerboard, the Masonic checkerboard, similar yin and yang, black and white, lightness and dark, the balance. So when I look at politics and everything now, again, I look at it as the grand chessboard, you know, the universal chessboard that only their hands get to touch. And again, they create the light and the dark, the supposed opposition of each other. So when we reflect it back at the other side, they look at us as the enemy versus we look at them as the enemy. So they're playing both sides on this chessboard to get the outcome that they want. And it's the yin and yang energies going back and forth. Thing is, we're thinking too linear. Like this guy did this, and then this guy did this, and then this guy. No, it's like all this stuff is already set up to where if I move this chess piece over here, it'll affect multiple things, and I want this particular outcome to happen, and then I'm gonna have this happen over here. And when you look at it that way, then you see how they're using the chessboard as the Republicans, you know, the white pieces, Democrats are the black pieces, and they're going back and forth. But yet it's just one hand playing the chess game. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. It's like somebody playing both sides of the chessboard. I think David Icke had put it as that, where you know, he says you have to know the full outcome. That's the only way to do it. There is no chance. It's like when we see these sports events, they already know who's going to win, who's going to lose. It's bred in circuses, you know, and I understand Magic Man is saying Trump could be the Antichrist, the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, we did a scream on this a little while ago. It's supposed to be Lucifer chained down by the foot, the angel at the bottomless pit. Yeah, or it could represent Prometheus. A lot say that Prometheus was chained to the rock, right? And then for stealing the fire of the gods and giving it to man, which everything we have today comes from the mastery of fire. If you master fire, you can create steel and other things like that. So it does come from that. But as a punishment, they say he chained Prometheus to the rock, where every day I forgot what bird, an eagle,
Crows can peck at his liver or something. Or
he would eat his liver and he would die. And well, he wouldn't die, he was immortal.
yeah,
So
they would eat part of it and it would grow back and eat part of it
yeah,
grow back. So it was,
he would
yeah.
endure the pain every day, get his liver eaten out. And then it grows back at night and he knows what's coming in the next morning. So, I mean, just when you look at something like that, the suffering, and I came across something about this too with the God type thing, and saying, okay, how much sense does it make that in a finite life, right? We know that the physical life is finite. That if you mess up and you don't listen to this person, that you're going to suffer infinitely, so forever. So it's not even like a balanced punishment. That right there should tell you right there it's all crap. To say, wait a minute, so you're telling me that if I don't listen to you, and especially this is clearly with all the monotheistic religions, none of them can get away from this. You're looking at, they are like, they terrorize people since they were kids. Timbo says, I think it was Brzezinski. Yes, he did write about the grand chessboard. Yep. Yeah, he did. And he was, I think, right? Wasn't he Secretary of State or something like that?
Yeah. So he was Obama's handler. So he's been, I think he handled several presidents. So he's one of these handler guys above the president technically. And he wrote the grand chessboard. And in that book, someone highlighted during the Gulf War after 9/11. He's shown in it like we need a strategic geopolitical war in the Middle East to fulfill these things and all this. Like same thing, basically saying we have the chessboard and they should go in and do this. And lo and behold, that's what exactly happened. You know, after he wrote that book like I don't know 5 years before the war or something, and magically, you know, a lot of these things happen. So yeah, they'll write about these things and show you publicly, and you know. It's almost like a thing where they have to let you know about it. You know, the predictive programming. They'll throw it into a Simpsons, episode or whatever. Next thing you know, it's happening. So we've seen this over and over and over. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that. The Hammer, if you have anything, or if just looking through Apollo.
Yeah, I have something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to say, the woman, no, it's like the leprechaun name, gnome. You know, the ice lady, the head of ice. Last name is Gnome. Gnome. And her name is I don't know. Something else I have to say. Religion is a protection for the rich people. To the farmer people in the Middle Ages, the priests say you go to hell. I see religion protection for the rich. That's what I see. That's you cannot when you believe you cannot think free.
Yeah, they say, I think it was Napoleon that said the rich, religion prevents the poor from killing the rich. And yeah, it is a type of protection. You're right. It makes them like, because when you look at it, everybody has to go to the farmer. So the farmer, the person who is in touch with the land, that grows food, that picks food, even if he doesn't grow food, if he knows when certain plants bloom and have fruit, he knows, like, especially throughout the islands of the Caribbean and the tropical regions of Central America, he knows when to go and pick a certain fruit, when it will be in season. And this is so important these people are the backbone of life for humans, but we have some type of evil group that has taken control, and it is controlling the farmers, the people that would normally
Not
grow the
control.
food. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these people would go to the market and sell
In the
the
Netherlands, we
food.
have the same problem too.
In where?
Yeah, but here's a quick question for you, MD. So let's say that there's these other beings and they look similar to us, whatever. Let us make us in our image, or let us make man in our image, whatever. So let's say there's another group that looks kind of like us or something similar, but they're superior in every which way, and they see us more as, a little smarter than, a little bit smarter than a cow or something like that, So would you be okay with them treating you like that kind of? Because would you be okay with that, just knowing that they are, physically, genetically, mentally, and everything more superior? Would you be okay with that?
That
Like if you found out that was the case versus some just, bunch of whatever they claim it is, whatever.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with that?
That'd be a tough one, man. That'd be a tough one. It's
So
like
I can make, okay, so I understand what we do with the cows. So if there was a similar situation, okay, or we're beat. There's nothing we can do. We're just, like you said, we're not stupid, but we're not very smart either.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. Yeah.
I mean, I would understand it, and I would accept it without a doubt. So it's kind of like I accept it now.
You're gonna try to outsmart this guy?
And we know we're not going to outsmart him. We know that it's like how in Kill Bill he said, "You are the worm."
And they probably live for thousands of years, and that's what makes them even more.
Tens of thousands.
And that's why they can plan for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
like
tens of
we
thousands.
Can't think of that.
There's one king on the Sumerian king block that ruled, they say, for 12,000 years. So if he's ruling for 12,000 years, he's living for 20,000 probably, or 40,000. Who knows? I mean, Zecharia Sitchin had talked about this, even though a lot of his book is based on his theory. But he says, if you look at a fly, and a fly might have 2-3 generations, great grandson, grandson, and it might tell its great grandson, look, I've seen this being has not aged a day since I was born, since my son was born, since you were born, the grandson or the great grandson. This being does not age. And that would be like something that has a 10,000 year lifespan. So we would say to ourselves, like, okay, this being is going to live for 10,000 years. Let's just say we live to be 100. If we attain 100 years, and we say, wow, 100 years. So basically, we're 1% of the lifespan of this being that lives for 10,000 years. 1%. So that's like that's like an animal, right? 1% living for 1 year.
You're a hamster. A hamster lives what, 2 years?
Yeah, but even less than that. Let's just say 1 year, because if we live to 100,
like a gnat, are there certain insects that live for like 30 minutes or something?
There's like a mayfly. A mayfly supposedly lives for a day. So in the day it's born, and then it mates, and then it dies, supposedly, a mayfly. So, but that's a little, it's crazy because you think of something like that. Now you're looking at something that lives way less than 1%. Because if you live for 100 years and something lives for a year, that's 1%, right? If it lives for 1/100th of that, like if you break it down, you start to say, well, wait a second, a day is 1/365th of that. So you're looking at something that lives more than 100 times. It lives like 300 and something times more. So for 100-year lifespan, this thing would be living like 35,000 years. And that matches up with what they're saying in a lot of these ancient tablets. So if something is ruling for 12,000 years, you start to say, holy smokes. And it's like you said, how do you even begin to fight something like that? There's just it again goes back to Kill Bill. You are the worm trying to fight the eagle. And what can the worm do? Somebody would say, well, what can I do? What can the worm do? He can only hide. There is no defense, really. The only defense that could be considered defense is hiding. So there's really no defense.
All it could do is use itself as bait, hence the pun, the worm, and lure it into a dangerous area. So maybe an alligator or something.
Yeah, so maybe another predator. So again, there's no directly opposing it. There's no way to it's like somebody, trying to throw a rock at a tank. It ain't going to do anything. So how do you oppose? The only way to live is like when we look at life on Earth, it lives in the shadows. The only way the worm can live is in the shadows. So are we, and the human ego tries to prevent us from accepting that, like you were saying. Would I just accept it? If I see, right now, I'm ready to accept it, to be like, wait a second, we ain't too far. It's like, I don't know if they're gonna
I'd be okay with it because I don't believe that we're the most advanced whatever species in this universe and all that. I don't believe that, for a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They say there's too many stupid people. I mean, it's not possible.
Well, again, the person
I can see why they had to treat us this way sometimes. When you see how people act sometimes, you can kind of see it.
I mean, you wonder. When you look at some humans, you come to if you say, okay, look, we're going to put you in charge, and we're going to have you, we're going to do this. Humans would resort to that. They don't, you have people aren't smart enough to figure out a way to do it in a way that's civil.
You don't live long enough either to really do it for real,
Well, you get tired of it. You say, you know what? Why don't I just beat and enslave these guys and make them do it? Because for some reason, when I explain it to them, they keep messing them up. But when I crack this whip behind their head, they just magically they do it the right way. And you start to say, like, what the heck is that the way that I have to do it to get them? I'm trying to show them, like, look, if you do it this way, this is it. We get the job done. I don't know what it is. And I can understand somebody being disgruntled. Like, wait a minute, you got me chained up. I'm here and you're telling me to do this. It's like, it really gets into a tough situation to be like, okay, one, what's so important about having this job done? And that's when you look at slavery and when you look at the Caribbean, it's like, okay, what was the first thing? You got to start planting sugar cane, because the sugar cane is what's going to keep you enslaved with your tongue. So now that I got you enslaved by what you eat, like you had mentioned this a while ago, they go into areas, people eating, living naturally. They bring in white rice, white flour, white sugar. You're not allowed to grow food anymore. You're not allowed to eat that. No, that's evil. That's unscientific. I had a conversation a little earlier with a guy from Australia. I think he's from New Zealand. Very disrespectful from another stream. Some of the people come over here and listen, but he gets mad because his whole hierarchy of evolution crumbles whenever I'm around. I'm not going to put up with it. And, he always curses, calls me curse slurs and stuff like that. But I explained to him, like, I understand. I'm mature enough now to understand that your parents never gave you any training. You were raised like an animal in a coop, fed scraps, not treated like a human being. So how would you know how to react like a human being? Of course you wouldn't know how to act like that, because you're not human. You're an animal. You're a monster. And some people might look at that and say, oh, that's kind of brash. I'm like, well, if you're calling somebody that, it is. But if you're describing Their behavior, it is not. It is a description. It's saying, look, I've never said anything like profane to you. I've just posed questions. And those questions, the fact that, he sneak listens to our stream, he hides in the crevices where he's used to staying in the bottom of the barrel, and he listens, and he tries to say, oh, well, you don't understand this about Charles Darwin, or it was racist back then, but it's not now. It's like, okay, I've heard that argument before many times. It's like, okay, it was racist then, but it's not now. So telling people they come from apes back then was racist, but for some reason telling them they come from apes now is not racist, is not some straight superiority complex. And of course, Darwin and them are not going to be the ones closer to the ape, right? Let me just take a wild guess. And that's there. So when I tried to talk to people about this, and I was explaining, I said, look, this is a serious problem because it tries to say that some people are not as human as other people. The whole evolution religion was based on that. And it was not. We see that people of all different colors can be of different intelligence levels. So we see that evolution, the theory, which they try to push in as fact, is incorrect scientifically. It's really, Timbo says, another Professor Dave type. Any other theories are met with hostility. Yes, exactly. Matter of fact, anything factual that is brought to dispute the theory of evolution is met with super hostility. I mean, if the theory, if they had any scientific facts to back it up, there would be no hostility. That's like somebody telling you they can breathe underwater. Why would you even argue with them? You'd say, really? All right, show me. Show me. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, you're never gonna, because I mean, again, that's a construct, an artificial construct that's there as an agenda to push a certain ideology to keep us, I guess, away from the spiritual. And we had to come from something physical and ancestors, and we used to not have these superpowers, but now we do, and all this, just nonsense. But I wanted to go, before I forget about the butterfly thing. I want to ask you. So you got this worm who's going to eventually make a cocoon, make its own pod, right? So it's in the pod, sleeping. What do you think that caterpillar is dreaming about in that pod?
Yeah, you wonder about that. Is it even dreaming? Like what is, I'm more or less like saying, wait a second, what is
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because when you brought the Matrix thing out, I had a few episodes about that, brought up the butterfly thing, and we were like, oh man, this thing makes its own pod. What's it doing in the pod? What was Neo doing in his pod? He was training, right? He was training for whatever it was, fighting, driving, all that stuff. So I'm thinking that caterpillar is dreaming about being a butterfly and flying around. Like he's training in the pod, which could explain why when he gets out, because if you help it, a caterpillar out of its cocoon, it'll die. So it has to literally fight its way out, get out, and start flying instantly. No, there's no training period. You don't see butterflies like falling out of the sky because they're training in training mode or anything. You don't see any of that. You only see us training. So he's already trained. So the second he gets out of that cocoon, he's already flying around like nothing going on. Like you don't see a difference from him and some of that butterfly that's been around for a while. So it's almost like he's running his own Matrix program in his pod to then become that butterfly, versus just being a butterfly, born a butterfly. Because born a butterfly doesn't make sense, right? Because the wings and all that stuff, it would be pretty tough birth, right? Versus, okay, it's a worm thing. Okay, that makes sense. That's easier to birth, and then that thing turns into its own pod, and then turns into a butterfly. So it's almost letting us know, here's how the matrix works in an organic way, like what Neil went through when he was training for whatever, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Does that make sense? Or I'm like, oh, that sounds crazy, huh?
no, yeah, it makes you I mean, when we look at it, there's so much to look into. There's so much to say, okay, and this is something where people they don't like to do the research because it's backbreaking research. I mean, it's a lot of to go science itself is to say, okay, now we got to go and do this method, and we got to go check this and recheck it again to make sure if everything lines up, like with the picture here, like this one I found with Michael Jackson, right? Now, of course, we know Michael Jackson was not born looking like this. He looks different.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, we can't really.
Yeah, it's kind of
He
hard.
looks nothing like that in real life.
Yeah, I want to say, well, yeah, but he made himself look to that. And of course, there's certain things that, all right, it's kind of odd. Like, I mean, when it's just really weird when you look at these celebrities that are close to these ancient sculptures. It really makes a person wonder to say what is going on. How, you know, it it makes me wonder like what is going on, what is something laughing behind the scenes. And there's many other statues of celebrities that actually though they have pictures and stuff, but there's also like statues where people would say, well, wait a second, how's this even possible? Is this a joke? Is it real? Are what are you trying to say here? But like the one with Michael Jackson that I showed Michael Jackson here. I showed the one with Elvis here. And then there's this other one with Daniel Craig, tomato face, they call him, from James Bond movies. Looks pretty similar to this statue here. I mean, there's just something that when you look at some of these things, you say to yourself, like, this is beyond coincidence. This is maybe these statues were people that whatever that was controlling society from behind the scenes, maybe they were using these people.
I mean, they have run statistics on this. There is data recognition programs now that can say that right now, any given moment that you're alive, you have at least between 10 and 20 doppelgangers active right now in the entire planet. Like you probably haven't met them, probably haven't seen them, but they're out there. Someone who, so there is like a mixture, a limited mixture of genetics, phenotypes that eventually you're going to see duplicates of that. So it's not like one of a kind. You're one of a kind template type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. They say that your fingerprints also is like, they try to say, oh, they're unique, but they say that there's like, could be up to 10 people on the planet that have the same exact same fingerprint. So again, it goes back to what they tried to tell you was an absolute truth was, again, what they always say, a lie. And we have to be open to that, to say, hey, you know what? These people lie, and they're always lying. That right there is a very important truth that can help a person get through life, to know that whatever they say is, these are the same people that told you Christopher Columbus discovered America. They told you George Washington was a good guy. They told you that people that had killed people in mass are not bad people. So now when you think about this and you remember it, you have to, first of all, you got to know that what is said is true, or at least to know that it's wrong. Because some people would say, well, wait a second, those people were bad though. And that right there, you realize that you're talking to an idiot at that point. Should you even further the conversation? Should you switch it to something else like food or something just to get this idiot away from you? because they're draining. They will drain the thoughts out of your mind. Just like in a zombie movie, they eat the brains. In this, they'll eat the thoughts right out your head. Soon as you think something different, they'll continue to attack until you either leave or they're not there talking to you, or you start saying their opinion coming out of your mouth. Then all of a sudden everything's okay. Then it's like, oh, all right. So, you think like me. All right, everything's cool. And that's the AWM, the agree with me zombie, AWM. And we see the majority. It's like how Timbo was saying here. Once any other theories, hostility. Christopher, good to see you, man. Yeah, when we look at some of these things, and it's not to say that, oh, Elvis is definitely, the Statue of Liberty, there's some genetic connection there. It's just saying, hey, you know what? This is kind of this requires more research. This requires a little more research. But we live in a culture that has been cultivated to want an immediate answer. They want a microwaved answer to everything. A minute is too much. They want 30-second, 15-second microwave. Give me the answer. They expect to hear something from you, and they expect to become an expert in 1 minute of looking it up on Google. That's the hilarious thing that I see when I look at most people. I'm like, wow, they're beyond delusional. Delusional is an understatement for most people of how ridiculous they are. It goes almost beyond belief when you think about it. Me personally, the smartest thing to do is to lessen the conversations with people that want to talk about certain subjects, or even just eliminate them altogether. If somebody wants to talk about politics, it can't go too far. It's like, a couple of questions, maybe to see where the person's at. It's like, hey, do you, maybe, again, you got to play dumb to catch a sucker. You got, sometimes you say, I don't know, man. I don't think this voting actually, for some reason, it seems like it's not doing anything. And then you think, how do you approach a zombie? How do you approach a zombie? What do you say? Because you already know if they get triggered, they're going to run around Chicken Little syndrome, CLS. Running around telling everybody that you're the one that's awake. And they knew this over, like, basically now, it's going on 70 years, 80, 90 years from the invasion of the body snatchers. When they found out that you weren't one of them, they would scream. They would alert the other zombies that this person is not a zombie, to come and zombify him. In the remake in the 70s with Donald Sutherland, they did it even better, because they would have this scream and they would point at the person. And it was just like, it was brutal, because when you look at it, you start to say, yeah, that's kind of like what we see in society today. We see some really mentally disturbed people, all because of something that they can't even affect. Like they literally, it's like a reality show. When you see people start to go nuts, this person, this and this, and this guy's gonna save us, and it's like, really, it's like, so the fact that you can't do anything, if you do something to make your community better, you got to go through a whole bunch of laws again. So it's like, from the get, you're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent. That's the way it is. And when people start to see that and feel it and say, you know what? Wow, everything I experienced in life does kind of match that. It's never being innocent. It's never being given the benefit of the doubt. It's always being perceived as guilty before innocent, under a lie that they keep telling me is that you're innocent until proven guilty, which could be, what else could be further from the truth? It's horrible when you see the way people are treated, and that people will see it and not even acknowledge it. They won't even acknowledge that it's happening. It goes back to the Nazi propaganda of concentration camps. If you see somebody getting killed, you better not look. If you look, you know who they're coming to get next, right? And then after they off that person, when you're not looking, when you're acting like it didn't happen, they will come over, one of the prisoners said, and they would force you to look. Do you see? And he said what they were doing in doing that is telling you, you only see it when we tell you to see it. So if we don't tell you to see it, ain't nothing happening. Nothing is going on. It's such a brutal psychological form of torture.
So is that why you think they kind of forced everyone to see the Charlie Kirk thing close up and brutal?
Well, it's sort of like this. The Charlie Kirk thing is this. We know that this thing looks fishy, but what we're telling you is this one lone white shooter is the one who did it. So we're telling you, if you don't see nothing else beside that, and most people, if you look at it right now, nobody has tried to investigate that. They try to talk about Erica Kirk, this and that, whatever. We already know she seems very much closer to a plant than a wife. Something seems very off. Even the thing with Trump, when the guy shot at Trump, do you really think that's the guy that shot at him? But you can't question that. Again, it's telling you, look, we know you saw something, but we're going to tell you what you saw. No, we don't want to hear what you saw. We're going to tell you what you saw. And everybody was like, okay. But what did we see? We saw that you said this guy shot Charlie Kirk off of a thing. Now, some people saying microphone, explosive, whatever. Nobody's trying.
Why do you think they made it so like in your face, like so close? So they knew he was going to be in close proximity. It's like, okay, we want you to do it when everyone's got their phones in his face.
Yeah,
everyone, the cameras are in his face.
To show
that
people
close.
that if you betray them, this is what will happen. And I can't go too deep into that, but if people really look into what Charlie Kirk was talking about before he got assassinated, you start to see that the people that might have did that, this ain't their first dance. You know, and it really does seem fake. It does seem fake. I mean, I'm not saying that the Charlie Kirk thing is fake. The Trump thing,
in your opinion,
in my opinion, yeah, in my opinion, the Trump thing, it just does not look real, in my opinion. The Charlie Kirk thing can also be, you know, when you look at the way that happened, it's like something is a little off about that. And the big thing that's off about it is that they magically get the guy. So they magically get the guy, and you know, you look at that and you say, really? So you're telling me this is the guy that did it? It's so close to Oswald and all of that stuff. It's like, yeah, how convenient. How convenient that nobody does that and you can't find them. Like goodness forbid it takes you a couple of days or longer to find the person that did that, right? Magically, you find them within minutes. It's kind of like finding a passport that magically survives an airplane crash. And not only that, to bring it to the next level is we could have found so many different passports, but guess what? We found the one that we needed to find. It was one of the bad guys. And people Now that's the crazy. You look at that point, you say, yeah, you got to be a blatant idiot. And then when you turn around and you see 90% of the population believes it. Hey, did you hear they found a passport, man? It was from one of those guys. You see, they're all bad.
Yeah, but it was perfect condition. How rare is that?
I mean, and the scariest thing is to see how people believed it. Till this day, you got people that believed it.
So it
Mr. X,
came out of a fireball. Is that what they're saying?
well, I mean, when Mr. X told me he didn't know about Building 7 until a few years ago, and Mr. X is awake, he knows about a lot of stuff. I was kind of like, holy
That's
shit.
shocking. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, it had me being like, wait a second. Something is up. And yeah, a lot of people, Erica Kirk, man, when you look at the whole thing, I look at Charlie Kirk as somebody that was used. You know, he said he had a porn addiction and they got him to turn to Christianity. So he was very moldable. He was very impressionable. And when he said the wrong thing, they were like, nah, you can't do that. You can't go both ways on this. You either support us or that's it.
They're okay with Nick Fuentes, huh?
Well, Nick, remember, look at where Nick is bending now. Nick is bending and he's defending Epstein now. I don't know if you've seen the videos. Openly. I mean, openly. He's saying, look, 14 to 17, he's saying. He's saying that's not a file. And I'm like, holy, I knew it from the beginning. I didn't know he was going to go this crazy, but you know already. I mean, you look at Nick.
I think he's listening to Zerka too much.
The fact that he said that and he's openly talking, it's not just like a clip.
That's what Zerka said originally. I think he's repeating what he said. He said on Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, but this guy is like, I mean, that's like.
Oh, depends on what state you go to. I mean,
Well, it's not even about the state because it's federal law. Federal law trumps state law. So and even that, it's like, what the heck, are you out of your mind? And then you have these other guys who are on this bandwagon, the so-called, I guess, Proud Boys or whatever. I mean, yeah, it's sad. It's really sad when you look at that to see like people are still believe in that area. You know, it just Fuentes, when I look at that whole thing, when you see the picture of him standing next to the other guys and see he's this little like trollish looking person, it tells you everything right there. It tells you everything right there. And then we already know.
You had the Beak on here that one time, and now he's involved with these guys. It's just it's just crazy.
And the Beak is trying to seek validation. He's trying to get validation from certain people. When people already know, I don't look for validation. If somebody, I could be cool with somebody for a while. People already saw it with Jose and stuff. Soon as I sense that somebody might be a plant, it's like, yeah, we're going to have to leave it at that. We can't go too much further. And regardless how he feels, it's like, oh, great, go tell it to somebody that cares. You know, and that's just what it is. It's just what it is. We don't have a lot of time. If he thinks I'm going to sit here and no, hey, you know what? That's the way you feel. Good luck on another stream. Not even to say F you or anything. No, good luck. I hope you do well. I hope they adopt you to where I don't ever have to hear your voice again or your name or anything. That's how mature I am. And it's not to say if somebody says, oh, well, you know, you were cool with that guy, whatever. It's like, yeah, and that's how life works. Sometimes you go through stuff and you learn with the person and you're cool, whatever, and then you move on. You move on. In my case, it comes out where a lot of these people turn out to be plants. And you start to say, wow, why can't they just say what I'm saying? Hey, we don't see eye to eye anymore. Great. Have a good one. No, it's got to be, if I challenge you or I say anything, this, and it's like, really? It's like now you sound as if you, I don't know, you want to apply for the position of a girlfriend or something. It's like, why would you even act in that manner? Why? It's like, oh, you're used to acting like that. You've never had the position of being a man.
Man, I don't know. Maybe the guy was going through a midlife crisis. I don't know.
That's
I mean,
great. Well, then go to a therapist.
usually,
Go to a therapist. Then people might look at that as,
come on, this is better than therapy.
No,
Here,
go to a therapist. It's like, I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear that, especially when immediately I already see the signs from so many years of seeing how these trolls operate. Immediately starts attacking the stream, attacking other people. It was so signature template, it was hard to ignore. It's hard to say, oh man, it's like, wow, he took that right. Couldn't just disappear. Couldn't just go away. Right? It's like, no, had to linger around a little. Okay, fine. You just let me know a little more. Cool, no problem. And it'll fade away. He'll fade away just like a lot of the other guys. And people don't realize what a chance that I give them to come on the show and to hang out and to talk and to say what they want. They don't realize that. And when they try to push it to the limit and I have to stomp them like a cockroach, they get mad. It's like, okay, well then don't act like a roach. I like stomping cockroaches, but you're going to act like one, right? All right, I'm going to have to stomp you. I'm not putting up with roaches. It's done. The roaches, I'm not putting up with them. When I go on other streams, I see these cockroaches. Even the hosts will sometimes act like a roach. And I'll ask them, I'll say, why didn't you call this out? For me, as a guest, to try to tell you that you should call us out shows me that it's not a place that I need to be. So instead of lowering myself to argue with them, hey, you should be doing, no, you shouldn't be. You should be doing exactly what you do because I can't change you. You can't polish a turd, no matter how hard you try. So you want to be a turd? All right, act like a turd. I'm not going to hang out here with you. I'm not going to deal with that. I already see what the deal is. You want your stream to be a toilet stream? Fine. I'm not going to be there. And that's what people need to understand. It comes a time where you have to follow up on what you are. I don't do this type of thing. And then you follow up by not going to that place. You don't see straight men going to gay bars. You don't. They're going to go to places where there's women. There's no reason, period, unless that's what they want. It's 2 + 2. Easy. But a lot of people can't even add that up. They can't add that up. They'll sit there, make excuse. Well, nope, there is no well, It's I got to press the eject button on him and then make a new one for the other person. Straight Top Gun. Popping them out, the fighter pilots. Yeah, and yeah, Timbo, yeah, Nick, the younger, I mean, when I look at some of the stuff that guy, he's a creepy dude. That's the craziest thing. The craziest thing, he's a creepy dude, man. They are trying to get so much publicity because the dating coach thing has been exposed. Multi-million-dollar scam. You see Tate with them looking like a lost dog, man. Looking like a dog who lost his master. Leash hanging all around his neck. And people believed in this guy. That was the funniest thing when I saw, when people actually believed in. And I was like, I had to reevaluate my position with those people to be like, if you're that much of an idiot, then I definitely got to pull back some privileges that I've extended to you because you're an idiot. You're a total idiot. Like when I see the people that, get very opinionated about celebrities, politicians, other things. It's like, okay, you don't understand yet. And you might not ever understand. I have to be okay with that. I can't be sitting here in Fantasy Island hoping that one day, they'll wake up. It's like, no, I already wrote you off. If you wake up, great. It's a bonus. If not, hey, no love lost. Good luck on your journey. But most people can't take that. They are not happy unless they destroy something because they're broken and they don't realize that you can't fix yourself by breaking somebody else. The only one that really took that to heart when I said it was Jake. He's like, yeah, man, that's a really deep saying. And it's like, it's true. And we all seem to have been guilty of that in some way or another. Instead of just accepting, we start to, people will say stuff. As Varun, my brother, thank you for the support, bro. Always, man. Thank you, bro. This as Varun actually hopped on last night. We talked a little bit about some of the stuff. It was great. Yeah, he asked a few questions about evolution, and I'm glad he brought those questions up with Charles Darwin. Basically to the point Charles Darwin can make someone think that he is delusional because some of the stuff he put forth really was delusional. I mean, I think he even tried to pull back on the whale coming on land, or like the bear, I think it was. Like, it was ridiculous. Like a bear going into a whale, I think, coming out of the water and turning into a bear, or some fish, and then the fish going back into the water, turning into a whale. I mean, the ridiculousness of it. And today they'll talk about it. They won't talk about it like it's crazy.
Okay, so look, here's the thing he started. Apparently, that's Nick Fuentes' group right there. If you want to read that,
a Groiper Army, the group which emerged.
The Groiper thing is that, remember that frog, that green frog? They always show that meme with the green frog. They use that, the Groiper. That's the symbol. But yeah, go ahead.
So it's a movement that aims to shift mainstream conservatism toward nationalism, anti-immigration, and ultra-traditionalist Catholic ideologies. Wow. That's what he started. Wow. And it's amazing the amount of people that follow him. I mean, the stuff that he was saying about dating women, I'm like, it's such a grooming tank. It's ridiculous at this point. It's ridiculous. And we already know the deal with Tate, his brother. I mean, now his brother was in that club with the pink suit on and all of that. So that tells you a lot right there. That tells you a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, the whole pink suit, and then you got, the whole crew of them. You look at Sneeko and the Beak and all, it's just no women. That's the craziest thing. These so-called, guys that's supposed to be like, some type of alpha male. No women. Women are repulsed by them, actually. And all they do, like you'll see some of the conversations with them with Clavicular, because he's young. He's like 20 years old. So when I look at these guys, I forgot the guy's name with the beady eyes that he's with them too.
What's weird about Sneeko is if you look at his streams, like this dude's still like in a studio apartment, and it's like, is this guy supposed to be, somewhat rich, with the amount of traffic and all that? I mean,
well, I think he's made a couple of million. I think he's made at least $1 million because he's been streaming since he was a kid. So he's got like streams out there where he's like 13 years old, 14 years old. And you can see him on camera, streaming. So he grew up. He's a grown-up YouTuber, but he's an idiot. That's the sad thing.
But it's like, why is he still like in a one-bedroom apartment situation? That's fucking. Sorry,
he probably doesn't care. Yeah, he probably doesn't care. I mean, most people, I can't really knock them for that. It's to say, okay, maybe he's saving money or something, or who knows? Maybe he's he's still with the family member or something. That's possible. It's definitely possible. Yeah, just and clavicula, I think, is a plant. I mean, the fact that this guy on camera, what he hit somebody with a car a couple weeks ago, and nothing happened. Like the cops let him go. Everything. I'm like, something's weird. Yeah, that's yeah, I've heard about the cat boy thing. Yeah, I've heard about that. That is really yeah, it really seems kind of odd, man, when I think about that whole movement type of thing. It really does seem odd. Seems to me all the extreme rightism leads to dystopia. Yes. Yeah. And they're just, you see, yep, you put it in the right way. Ethnic people. That's the butt plug fitness right there in a nutshell. You know, I would think that people would see through that. That's the real shocker, is to see that people don't even see through it. That people are like, what's wrong with him? You know, what's wrong? They didn't even see what's wrong. And I guess, I mean, I don't know if they're really banned from clubs in Miami or if that was all, again, maybe something that was staged. I'm not sure. I mean, these guys wanted to make a publicity stunt and get get notoriety, and they did. I mean, they got on the news, they got all of that, but I mean, yeah, it's just, you know what they don't realize is, and especially Myron Gaines and Sneeko and a few of the guys, they don't realize it's like, bro, you're digging, they're digging their own demise, basically. I mean, they're trying to support people that can't stand them. I mean, when you look at
You see the beatdown that Strickland gave Sneak.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know what? There was a thing when he came, I think Strickland was in the audience and he came up and harassed him first. I don't know if that was the first incident.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yeah,
they harassed him, and then yeah.
Yeah, so he started everything, and then they tried to
Well, here's how messed up it is. They know that Strickland hates YouTubers, so they did that on purpose because he knows. So they taunted him, you know.
Mhm. And Sneeko was dumb enough to take the bait. Now they have videos saying that Andrew Tate ripped them off or something like that. Like Tate got Sneeko. And it's sort of like he probably, because like I said, Sneeko's been on YouTube since he's been a young teenager.
That fight, I can't even. Now when you say Andrew Tate, I can't even. Yeah,
It's
I mean,
cringe. It's
I
like
want to see Strickland Andrew Tate. That would be a good one.
yeah,
That would be.
it just, every time somebody says Andrew Tate, you got to spit because it's a nasty taste in your mouth. He's so disgusting. I mean, and I told this to people.
And this dude with pink buttons on his, I'm like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, yeah. It really, when I look at that whole thing with Tate, it just when I first saw him and I
They're
said,
like hugging like 95% of the time. They're just hugging.
well, the whole thing is one, it's just like Myron Gaines, butt plug, whatever. We know that these guys don't like women. We clearly see this. And that's the first level of just saying, all right, well, what do you mean don't like women? There's levels to that. And it's like the hatred that they have says a lot. Like basically like that one guy with the beady eyes, I forgot his name. He wears a suit, takes the steroids and stuff, and he tries to act like he's some big guy and that women are supposed to be subservient and all of that, but he's never with women. You know, of course, he's always with dudes. We already know that whole MO with these guys. Black Circle, good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure, man. The whole Tate thing, when I saw the way he was speaking, and I said to myself, no guy that is successful with women will talk that way. The guys that are really successful with women are not on YouTube talking against them. If they're on YouTube, they're with their wife or or they're talking about something else. It says a lot. It's kind of like when I was on the other stream and the guy comes at me very angrily, always cursing. And I'm like, this guy is not happy in his regular life. He's actually miserable. Actually, everything he's saying is a reflection of where he's going to be later on in the night. Whether he's sleeping next to something he doesn't want to sleep next to, or he's by himself and he doesn't want to be by himself. Either way, he is not happy, because somebody that's happy and content with themselves or with themselves will not disrespect you in a certain manner. If you love yourself and you respect yourself, it's hard to disrespect somebody else. You have to really fall and lower yourself, because you're already risen so high where you can take an insult, you can take 10 insults, 20 insults. Then you just go on insulting, and it's like, hey, thanks for letting me know who you are. Because all you're doing is reassuring me on why I shouldn't have another conversation with you. And that's basically, I would say 90% of the people we know are not worthy of our time to listen to what they have to say. Because one, it's either going to drain any type of intelligence and knowledge that we have without a putback. And the other thing is they don't care. There's nothing.
I couldn't believe that's the argument, though. Now that when I look at it with Kevin Samuels, and then now Buttplug trying to use some of that stuff of what he said, and then that whole argument of them talking down to women and saying, well, it's like a guy is at a restaurant with a girl, and then the guy's like, doesn't, the first thing he goes to is that for some reason, and he's like, are you aware that, men probably built this building we're standing in, right, or that we're eating at right now, this restaurant we're eating at, you where the men have built, and she's like, yeah, okay, well, what does this have to do with? So it's like making someone aware of something that should be evident. And it's like saying, are you aware that construction workers built that building over there? It's like, that's what they do. So men are part of that structure. It's like women are supposed to be taking care of it, or having birth, the kids, and that whole side. So whenever a man tried to separate themselves and try to put himself over on a woman like that, it's like, do you not understand your role? It's like, so okay, you're telling me you don't understand your role as a man, is what you're saying. You have to point out to a woman that you're superior because you fall into a category where men, even not him at the time, he could be doing some other job, but men are construction workers and they do all the brunt of the work and they do all these things because that's the role of them doing that, which has been that way for who knows how long. But to have to use that as an argument is the weirdest thing. I don't understand why. Like in the 90s, for example, MD, when you were growing, do you remember anyone using that argument?
Never. It's
like
like
a woman. It's a known thing. Why would you have to say that?
Yeah,
go ahead.
You never. I mean, it's like them having a sandwich on a table and hungry, and they want to eat the sandwich, and they say, that sandwich should want me to eat it. And you look at them, and you say, are you a total buffoon? You're telling me the sandwich. So you're hungry and you want to eat the sandwich. It's delicious. But you're saying that the sandwich should want you to eat it. So you're not eating the sandwich because the sandwich is supposed to beg you to eat it. You're an idiot. You have to be an idiot to think of it that way. So basically they're saying to women that, they should be grateful that, this, they're in a building that men built and a guy, and it's like, what? It's like, what don't you understand the power of women? And obviously
it's like, are you aware that men are more, in athleticism, are much more athletic and much more, stronger? And I was like, where?
Even if we bypass,
you know, the grass is green. Do you know the grass is? It's like that. Yeah. That's what it's saying. Yeah. It's like, where is this coming from?
Well, they're all doing it, and this is where I noticed they're doing it to get the the other
It
guy.
sounds like it's like an argument to where you're already defeated in the debate, and you say some dumb outlandish thing that doesn't make sense because you're angry and you're upset, right? Like you'll lash out and just say something stupid, right? That's what it sounds like. But no, they're using that as the anchor. Cam Samuels and all these guys, uh, Tate, all of them,
And
Steve Keller,
all of them were suspicious. All of
they're
them.
all on that side saying, "Look, we built these buildings, so you better do what I said." It's like what? It's like what you so you built that building? No, I do something else, but men
They
built that
didn't
building.
realize
That gives
that
me the right because I'm a man. It's
the
like, what?
idiots, just full blown. I mean, and when his brother had mentioned something about the Argos, Jason and the Argonauts, and these were warriors that were not heterosexual, and they would fight like very fierce, very skilled warriors. Jason and the Argonauts was a movie I think made about that. Now, not to say all of them were butt pirates, but I would say the majority, especially Tate and these guys that worship them. And they try to tell these stories like, oh, yeah, these two guys would fight to the death side by side because they were also lovers. So they're going to fight even more fierce. Everything was a story trying to pull a guy away from the hetero world. That's what I noticed. It's like, and so what are you trying to say? There weren't like straight warriors or something? Like why are you telling me this story about Argos?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the only thing that would make sense is that they're not hetero and they don't like women. So the only stance they have is, look, we're superior to you because that's the only way it makes sense, MD. So you
That's
might
the
have just
only
cracked it right
thing.
there.
The
That's the
only
only way it would make sense
Yeah,
because otherwise it sounds like something that's just complete buffoonery, like you're saying.
yeah.
It wouldn't make sense that you would ask something like that unless there's something behind this that's more of a clever
It's an
move to
ingenious.
pretend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ingenious way. It's a honey trap that they use to catch guys that are sexually inexperienced. And look at who they're baiting it towards. Guys
Wow,
that are
dude.
sexually
Yeah.
inexperienced. They're guys that can't get women. Like what is Nick Fuentes, a 27-year-old professed virgin or something like that? I mean,
If you were to break that news and you say you cracked the algorithm on that, if you were to break that news, that could be big.
yeah,
Yeah, because that was a lot of people doing it and they're still doing it.
I think people are doing it and they're starting to realize what I've noticed years ago is that nobody cares. The fact that they have something that would break Fuentes, right? To say, listen, we have this, we have the grinder thing, we have all of this stuff he talks about, and nobody's even batting an eye, shows me that they haven't got it yet.
He's
It's
probably,
kind of
yeah,
like
that's true, man. What's up, man?
exactly. It's kind of like when I saw 5, 6 years ago when guys, were telling me that I don't know, man. I think you're kind of off, and I'm like, no, none of these guys are hetero. And people are like, that's a little too. I was like, okay, go ahead, fine. Think what you want. Think what you want. I'm telling you, none of them.
And if they aren't, they will be soon because they go through the initiation process.
Well,
And if
no,
you do
no,
then you're
it's not that they will
officially,
be soon.
you
They're
know,
just not. They're going to realize it soon. It's not that they will be, because it's something that they
you're like
are.
Justin Bieber when he's sitting there 15 with P. Diddy, not knowing what he got himself
Well,
into.
he didn't know. See,
You know,
Justin Bieber might have been probably forced into that. Like we're talking about guys that will use the excuse of women don't like them, and that's why they go to dudes. And I'm like, no. Master Yoda proved to everybody you can always go to a brothel. So the fact that you're going that route showed that that's what you were all along, and that's okay.
but you can't say that. You can say that to me because I'm a panel, but not the guys in the States. It's like, that's a tough
Well,
one.
the thing is the whole way is if you get pushed to the limit to where you have to go to a brothel. The guys that don't go to the brothel and snatch up something from an Andrew Tate nightclub, you already know the deal right there. I wouldn't be surprised when I looked at that picture with them with Nick Fuentes standing around them. I was like, this ain't good. This ain't good. I mean, it was looking kind of very creepy, very, very creepy. I mean, it just, I didn't know what to say. I looked at that like
So
they
a bunch
probably
of
had
dudes
a
standing
party.
around, not a woman in sight. Right?
Not a one, and they probably had a party. They probably had an after party with dudes.
Oh, that's the Hogwood party. What is it called again? I forgot the name.
Yep,
Hot
the hot
dude party.
dude. Yep, the hot dude party. That's
I
who
could
got.
not believe he'd be showing that with the pink and all that. I'm like, come on, dude. I mean,
Mhm.
you can't
Yep.
make this.
Yep.
You know.
Same thing with Rolo. Rolo's another butt pirate. They're just all in it together. All of them. Cooper, every single one. Everybody. When I looked at it and I said, holy smokes, it's all of them. Every single one of these so-called manosphere, creators, all deep in the depths of the closet, born in there. Because I noticed that back in 2020, I said, why are they constantly harping on women? It's like, okay, yeah, fine, some stuff happens, whatever, but then you move on.
No, but it's like I tell a woman, like, look, woman, men, I didn't do it, but these guys over here built this thing over here, so therefore you gotta be subservient to me. You better, know your place, right?
Mhm. Secret Band of Thieves. I gotta look that up. He's saying this could be close to the Argos type of thing. Wow, and this is going back to Greece, 4th century, so 2,400 years old. Holy smokes, this is similar to the 300 thing. 150 pairs of male couples. Wow, thank you about this, EC, man. I appreciate that. If you have any more info, please put it in the chat. I'm looking it up now. So this is close to what the Argos thing is. You got like 150 male couples, so it's 300 men. Holy smokes. And it was first organized under Commander Gorgidius, 378 BC, and later Pelopidas. Wow. At the role, it was annihilated by Philip of Macedon and young Alexander. And Alexander was sus too, right? From what I heard. I mean, I don't know, but they're saying that Alexander is like, it's beyond sus. It might be confirmed with Alexander. All of these dudes, it's like, what is it? Is it like a prerequisite or something like that? Next thing you find out, Hercules is a butt pirate or something. It's just, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised, man. Tuesday says, I think Tony Bruno, unlike a lot of the guys, I think he's just Tuesday's hilarious. Nah, I think you're going a little far on that, Tuesday. I think you're giving him too much credit. I think the prune is definitely Closet City. He's definitely Fruit City. 4th century BC elite forces, all non-hetero, crazy closet. This is, EC, man, you are dropping
Like that Caligula type of stuff, huh?
This is beyond Caligula. This is, probably
What
too.
they're doing, like horses and bestiality,
banging their horses and all that. That's probably what you look at that. It's like, holy smokes, this is like some closet warriors out the, holy smokes. Sacred band. So Athenius of Naucratis also records the sacred band, oh my goodness, as being composed of lovers and their favorites, thus indicating the dignity of the god Eros in that they might embrace a glorious death in preference to a dishonorable and reprehensible life, while Polyaenus describes the sacred band as being composed of men devoted to each other by mutual obligations of love. You gotta be kidding me. You have to be. This is crazy, bro. This is crazy. You're right. The non-hetero is off the freaking scales. Holy smokes. I wonder, and this, I don't think this is what they were talking about with the Argos, right? Let me see. or the
I mean,
Argo.
the French thing with the wigs and all that. I mean, once you saw that and the British thing, all that, it's just
Yeah,
you got the high heels, the makeup, and all. I mean, it's like, come on, man. It's like I'm at court. I gotta see that, really. It's like this dude's gonna sentence you to death, and you gotta see this guy in makeup with the high heels and the wig and all that.
I looked up the Sacred Band of Thieves. All right, so the Thebes is often confused with Argos or Sparta due to their fame, and they're trying to say that they weren't gay, but they rather adhered to Greek pederastic traditions where pairs of lovers fought together, believing the romantic bond strengthened the battle, loyalty, the morale. So in other words, they were basically. So they always trying to lie. They were considered invincible and were known for their fierce, dedicated fighting style. So, and that's the Sacred Band of Thebes. It's the Sacred Band from Thebes. And then there's another one, the Role of Love and Warfare. All right, that's by, again, they mentioned that person, ancient Greek sexuality. And it's funny because it reminds me of the guy from this other stream from Gnosis that he always, I mean, I don't know if this guy is like a closet racist or what, but he just anything. He's one of those. Racism wasn't racism back in the day. You know, it was different. The time of the days. It's like, really? So murder wasn't murder back then, right? It's different. It was different back then. It wasn't really murder, right? But it's murder now, though, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
could see that because it is a artificial construct, whereas murder is, you know, an action or an
No,
event or
I
whatever
think gay
written.
fits there. It's like, listen, if you're a butt pirate, so you're telling me you weren't, what you're doing now isn't butt pirate 200 years ago? It's like, no, you're saying that because that's what you are. You're still deep in the closet. And that's what I mean, it's insane today. You know, and they try to say it again.
And look at the P Diddy thing, man.
I mean, yeah, the whole P. Diddy thing, it just yeah, it just
The ritual, you know, to bring out all these, you know, the newcomers, you know, to get them famous, but they got to go through this, you know, ritual.
You know what the crazy thing is? They say here because the movie 300 with this band, Sacred Band of Thebes with 300, and it says while Spartans had strong same-sex bonds, the specific elite army of 300 lovers refers to the Sacred Band of Thebes and not the Spartan army. So they tried to mix those two stories together. Because I remember a guy watching 300 back, like, I don't know, it was like what 15 years ago or something or more, and he told me he was a veteran, but he was like, look, this is like pure propaganda. He goes, look, and a lot of people don't know that the Greeks lost that battle, so they were taken over, and you know, so they never talk about that. They never talk about that. Wow. And the fact that the Tates brought that up, his brother did actually. I think the little brother, and he was talking about that, like, oh, how they fought so fierce, and you know, when you tell a story, there's a way stories can inspire people to want to do something. So the way that he was saying it, I was like, yeah, they're trying to recruit. They're trying to recruit people to their little band, the little band of Thebes, basically, it seems like. And again, if that's the path that somebody wants to walk, fine. Just don't lie to people and act like you're hetero, man. Spartan was more diabolical because it was an older man. Oh yeah, Spartan was, yeah, that's some brutal. They were non-hetero, but the dynamic was grooming. Yeah, their whole. I heard something from a guy that we used to be cool years ago. He used to come on the stream. He had a study. I don't think I had it on an old email, but you can probably still find it, where he was saying that there were certain, I think it might have been Spartan soldiers where they would have the women shave their heads so they would look more like boys from the back. Now, if you look this up and find info on it, please, drop it in the chat. But this is what this guy was talking about. He was letting me know that was the research he stumbled upon. I mean, it goes so deep. It goes to a point where you start to say, yeah, it ain't today that they're just turning all these Hollywood and musicians and stuff to walk on the other side. It's been happening since the dawn of what we can call recorded history. This is just on it. This is unbelievable. Yeah, this is some unbelievable stuff.
Look at the Greeks. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of these are from the Greeks, the Spartans, or Sparta, Athens. What was the other one? Sparta. There was Athens. Yeah, Athens. Wow.
And the mythology,
Oh yeah, the mythology. You got gods, butt pirate gods that they just I mean, you think about that,
abominations.
It's like, holy smokes. I mean,
man horses and centaurs and all kinds of weird hybrids.
And honestly, I think when I look at those type of things, I think there might have been some type of like
lab experiment thing,
scientific, some type of gene splicing. It's possible. I mean, you're not just, we know when you look at birthing and genetics and stuff, you're not just gonna have somebody give birth to something like that. There's some type of.
Do they have like a spider goat? You hear about that?
Yeah, the spider goat, which they mix the genes, right? The spider goat was
it makes a special thread. I guess the webbing makes them special.
It genetically engineered goats to produce milk containing spider silk proteins. It's crazy. The fact that they genetically engineered, I mean, and they're not asking for anybody's permission to do this. And they're trying to say, well, it can make applications in medicine, stronger textiles and body armor and stuff. And, inserting spider genes into goat DNA to create a more efficient way to produce spider silk than spiders themselves can. You've got to be kidding.
Frankenstein.
You got it. I mean, these people need to be put. I mean, what type of monsters? What type of monsters?
The fact they can mix insect genes with an animal, that's the horrifying thing. It's like, what else can they mix with?
No barriers, man. And Timbo, yep. I heard about the New Guinea. You know what the crazy thing is that Papua New Guinea, they try to say that they'll get the young boys and they call it like a transference of knowledge or something ritual. And this is, I mean, you look at that and
that's so messed up, man.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start with
I wouldn't even mention that, but you remember the movie The Fly, right? The Fly. Remember the Fly movie?
Mm-hmm. The gods had them doing crazy stuff. You're right.
That movie traumatized me when I was a kid.
Yeah. This is it is so, and I have to ask Azraroon about the eating the feet. I know I've heard about the drinking the other side. I don't know about the eating stuff, but I will look at. I mean, they're just ridiculous. When you look at some of that stuff, it's like, I mean, well, in reference to all religion, Magic Man, if you ever look through the book, what was it called? The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Christian Myth, right? In that book written by John Allegro, when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, chapter 7, I think it is, of the Dead Sea Scrolls and this Christian myth, if I remember correctly, you can look it up again, is that in chapter 7, they talked about when Jesus was missing from like 12 to 30, they were saying that the most holy place for a priest to put his semen is on the forehead of a youngster. And you should look it up. Maybe you can find it for free on Google. The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Christian Myth, Chapter 7, John Allegro. And it shows, and then you wonder, why are all these Catholic and Christian priests doing this to young boys? I mean, it's an epidemic, basically. Yeah, you really need to look that up, because you will see that. I mean, who knows? They might have got it from the Hindus. We don't know. But we know one thing for sure. They're all on the butt pirate train. I don't, is there another occupation, right? Is there another occupation where, because roughly we're looking at 5% of PDF files for religion, maybe a little more, but I'll just say 5 to be conservative. Is there any other occupation that has that high of a rate of PDF files? I don't know, train conductor, maybe politicians, that would make sense. But priests, I think, are like leaving them in the dust. I don't think anybody is up there with the priests when it comes to Fruit City. These guys are legendary butt pirates. These are legendary butt pirates. Like, there's statues that still stand today in commemoration of these butt pirates, and a large following that still go to, their congregations are not small. I mean, we see it in a lot of the black churches here throughout the South and the Bible Belt. I mean, those guys, they doing some stuff behind the scenes that ain't too cool. They definitely ain't too cool. Yeah, the glow in the dark cats. I've heard about that. I've heard about the monkey too. It wouldn't put them past. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there ain't glow in the dark humans now. I wouldn't be. The stuff that's in the lab is probably unbelievable. But what we got to realize is that we're in an open air lab. We're literally in a lab, basically. And what they put in the environment, all they got to do is test us. And they know. I mean, the fact that we're looking through all of this and we're seeing that, and, some of the stuff, I can only put so much in the human origins. That's why I'm making it an abbreviated version, so I could speculate and talk more on the stream about it every day, and just say, look, like we just touched on today, which, I don't bring it out unless people bring out some stuff. But yeah, that stuff with the Papua New Guinea, that is brutal, man. That is like and they do it also. There's a tribe in Africa that does it, where they don't consider the younger males a man until they've ingested that liquid from the elders. It's just horrible. I mean, I don't even know what to say. If that's the way they got to get knowledge, why? I could understand people wanting to stay stupid. It's like, nah, It's like, I ain't trying to do that. What are you, crazy? I mean, and look at the grift on that. It sounds like a priest. Like, yeah, come here, I want to give you something. I want to give, what? What? You have to be out of your mind. I could imagine women just sitting back on the sidelines, not even knowing what to say. What can they really say? They're probably like, these dudes have lost their mind. They, like, some magic man, the gods got people doing some crazy stuff, man. Yep. And the Dalai Lama, the fact that he said that, nobody remembers that now. When he told that boy that, I was like, what? The suck my tongue Dalai Lama, 14 Dalai Lama? Wow. Yeah, it just really. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Timbo, and you're right. Like when Magic Man brought that up, bro, and then when I look at these things too, man, like I look at this stuff here and I start to say to myself, like something is very odd when I look at it's something very, very odd here. The Statue of Liberty type face, and then we look into other celebrities like Michael Jackson with this one, tomato face with this one here. I mean, something is very, very odd about this stuff. I just haven't been able to put my finger on it, but we know it's not exactly what we're seeing. We know it goes deeper than that. The average person, yeah, I don't think they're really yeah, I don't think they're caring about that, you know. But yeah, the whole yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. When I look at some of these things, that picture, that Magic Man, I could not believe that. I'm still like, wait a second, bro. How did Jimi Hendrix draw this picture at 14 years old? And he's saying he's drawing Elvis. Like what? All right, yeah, Elvis Magic Man, I think said was a natural blonde. This looks a little more orange. Maybe he didn't have a blonde crayon, but there's something about the cheeks and this is so Trumpish. It's freaking ridiculous to think that Jimi Hendrix drew that picture about 70 years ago. Basically, that's insane. That's insane. And to find out that that looks like what appears to be Trump, it looks close to it. And I'm trying to figure out, like, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? But, you know, life is funny, man. Life is funny. Very odd. Very odd when I think about that. Yeah, the Dalai Lama, man. When I think that thing right there, just I can't really tell on the Elvis thing because I've seen a lot of black and whites. Even the color picture, I don't know. I don't know. I have to look into that. But just the fact, another thing to be looked into is that whole man, that whole the Thebes and all of these so-called how do I put it? These Theban warriors, I guess would be called. Just that you got me on that one, man. I'm gonna look that up. And matter of fact, that's like it has me wondering, man. It really does have me wondering with men. Yeah, this whole now that the whole Andrew Tate and them things, it's like basically shattered. I don't know if Sneeko will ever see the truth of it because he's already encountered money and all of that stuff, and he sees where YouTube is basically his career, and he probably doesn't have to work anymore. I mean, if you got $3 to $5 million, you can live comfortably. We have comforts in this country. You can't live extravagantly, but hey, living comfortably is good enough. I mean, what more can you ask for? So the fact that they're saying, I think Tate might have got him for a certain amount of money. Who knows? I'm not sure. But Sneeko, I could see being that gullible, like saying, hey, Tate might say he'll pay him back. It's like, well, if you're telling people you're worth 350 million, or what did it shoot up to 700 million? It was fluctuating, right? Between 300 million and more, right? Why would you ever need to borrow money from anybody? If you have that much money, you should never be caught without. You should always have like $1,000 somewhere, whether it be a back pocket, a sock, some card that you can always get access to. If you have that much money, that's like a lot. You know, you don't. If I had $300 million, all I do for the rest of my life is give away money. Every day, I'd go do my routine, give away some money. Next day, do my thing, give away some money. You have enough to give away. Matter of fact, you could give away $1 million a year until you die, and you'd still have $100 million. Over $100 million. Because if you gave away $1 million, you're not going to probably live to be 100 years old. But let's just say you do. You still got $200 million if you had 300 million. So, I mean, it just really puts it into perspective. They also spelled Elvis' name wrong on a tombstone. And like they were mocking the public. You ain't gonna spell the name of a famous celeb's wrong. Exactly. Elvis had a twin that was stillborn. Wow, that's kind of deep, because now I wonder if that's the sacrifice. Like they're always looking for some sacrifice thing. So maybe wow. And what if that twin never died? Wow, that's another deep one too, bro. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Or maybe not even 1,000 in a roll. You can flatten $1,000. You can fold it in half once and flatten it out to where it's very thin. You know, even $200-300, $300. I mean, you should be able to get home or to get to a place where you can get more money. You know, when I look at these guys, and it just screams, something screams very scamish about their whole thing. Something seems very, very, very scamish. But going back to that spider goat milk type of thing that I had pulled up. Yeah, this is really, when I look at this, spider silk properties incredibly strong. So I mean, just the fact that they've taken insect genes and mixed it with a goat. I mean, what the heck is going on? And if this is the stuff that they're telling us about in the open, I could just imagine what is behind the scenes. I mean, and there's other ones too. There's other ones with I do remember a few, the glow in the dark monkey. Like they were trying to say, oh, we're doing this in hopes of being able to implant glow in the dark genes into trees so they won't need street lamps. I mean, the stuff that they make up is just ridiculous. It's like, wait. So you're doing this? Well, we have street lamps. Why would you? You know, it's like, I mean, it's crazy. And they probably could. They probably have. Yeah, you know what? They probably had Spider-Man before the Spider-Man cartoon in the 60s. They probably had it like way back. When I look back at some of the stuff that they have created from decades ago, and then you look at the technology and stuff we have now, we start to say, yeah, these guys they found that Pandora's box when they opened it up. They found the Pandora's box with all of the secrets. And now it's like, again, the homicidal maniacs, the immature, and they're scary. They're scary. The immature, that everybody is kind of subjected to this, man. This is a tough one, man. But disturbing truths about the rabbit hole, man. That's basically what it is. It's disturbing truths. Magic Man broke it down with the thieves, man. The 300 thieves, man. That Yeah, that's a brutal one, man. That's a brutal one. And it's funny that I think that's who Tate and his brother were referring to when they talked to about that. It just yeah, man. Yeah. Alexis says thoughts on BP Zombies wheat waffles. I haven't really checked him in a long time, man. So I don't know if he's produced any videos recently. I'm not sure. But yeah, they are so zombie. I mean, they're just there to grift. Yeah, they're clearly there to grift the community. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that people still listen to him. But he said he made over $500,000 in 2 years, grifting people for face ratings and stuff. I think it was something like that. People were saying. And he, yeah. I haven't watched his videos. I never really watched the whole video, but I haven't watched anything from him in way over a year. Definitely. The cast from Big Renter is showing mad sign. It's crazy when we look at the mad scientist type stuff. It really is nuts. You look at something where you say to yourself, why do you even want to do that? You know what? Like again with the spider, the goat thing. It's like, why do you even want to do that? Why? What? I mean, and it's not even like they say when they say, "Oh, these guys are playing God." No, the more accurate description would be them. They're playing devil. They're not playing God because what they're doing is they're torturing these things. I mean, this is torture when you look at it. How do you do something like that? Well, maybe one of the prerequisites is just being somehow just non-caring. I mean, ethically, you act just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. You can spit, right? That don't mean you should spit on the ground where you're at. You can have children. People can bear children. People can impregnate men and women, right? So that doesn't mean you want to do that right now. Just because we can procreate doesn't mean that we should at the moment. Maybe there's a time and a place. But when we see that type of mindset, because I can, I should, extreme immaturity. Extreme immaturity. People can commit certain acts, but you still have the free will not to do that. Just because you can do it, it's like, well, why would you do it? Oh, I made a firearm that can shoot a projectile 300 meters. Fine, I can shoot a target. Why would I need to shoot something living? It doesn't. The target serves as a good enough purpose for that. Just because I can shoot something from a distance doesn't mean I should. Yeah. And yeah, the original Spider-Man, the jazz from those Spider-Man cartoons, the themes, and not even just the theme song itself, but the jazz from the episodes. Some of those are way better than the theme song. Like they get deep, man. They get real deep with the Spider-Man. I used to really, I was too young to watch the originals, but I remember when they replayed them when I was a kid, and I would watch it. And yeah, cartoons, yeah, just really. That was I used to love them. I used to love watching the Spider-Man. They had another one with I think it was called Samson and Goliath. It was like a kid and his dog, and then they turned into like he was Samson and the dog turned into a lion. I remember that cartoon. I remember Davy and Goliath, the clay, Gumby. Bugs Bunny was probably one of the top ones. Bugs Bunny was a very quick mentally quick cartoon. And I knew that even though kids would watch it, they did throw those adult jokes in there, which honestly, they made a lot of those jokes about the problems they used to see in the studio. And one of those problems in the studio was prejudice and racism and stuff like that. And I think that's when they said they created Yosemite Sam, when he used to say all the time he hates rabbits, because he used to say something different, and they switched it to rabbits. And there was the bull in the ring that they created that off of one of the managers that was constantly just not in the best of spirits. Magic Man says they mixed a rabbit with a human back in the 2000 to supposedly harvest its organs. Think the China. Whoa, this is crazy, man. It's like, and I heard they're growing organs like in tanks and stuff like that. So it's just, it really makes you wonder. It just, to me, with my research, it brings it all back to the lab. It's like anybody can look at it and see that humans are not created in an outdoor environment. They're just not. Any life, when you look at life in general, you start to say this has a signature on it. There's a signature. There's a design. I don't like to use the word design because the religious groups have really hijacked the intelligent design. It's like anytime you say it, they immediately think you're from some certain religion. So I'd rather use constructed, I don't like to use created either, but constructed, engineered. It definitely looks engineered. When you look at you just look at cells. You just look at cells, bacteria, and it's like, yeah, this ain't happening by chance. You're not having half a bacteria or something staying in a certain stasis until it can be used in a certain other way. No, it's not. It doesn't work that way. It's certain systems have to be created all at once. That's just the way it is. You're not going to have a blood clotting system create a little bit at a time because it's going to bleed to death. The blood clotting system has to be intact. It doesn't get a little bit more here and then in a million years it evolved. No, there's certain systems that are not going, they cannot evolve. They're fully functional systems. So this is another thing they don't mention in a lot of the religion of evolution, because again, just like any religion, they don't want you to talk too deep about their books. Something. Yeah, there's something higher. There's something like an artist Bert's art, but even deeper than that, it's like an artist putting something into the art to where it can recreate itself and not randomly, but adapt to its environment, and not slowly adapt, because we see it can happen slowly or it can happen quickly. So we have those two. We have a slow adaptation and we also have a quick adaptation, which totally goes against the religion of evolution. They'll again, anytime you bring up something that goes against their theory, they will lie. They will try to twist the evidence to fit the theory instead of doing what science does, which is change the theory to fit the evidence. That's how you walk toward truth. Yeah, and it's not one, I don't believe, because the belief system, again, you know how I am with words. Science isn't working on belief. So to say that a fish came out of water and eventually developed lungs, right? That that is so fairy tale to me, because I'm saying, okay, where are the fish that are coming now? We have to look at systems now. We have to look at like the internal organs of the fish. Now, there are fish today, or it's not a fish, but the mud skippers and certain things, which are not considered full fish. They have sort of a primitive, of what they would say is a primitive lung. And again, the way they use the language, primitive lung. No, that's an advanced lung. That's a creature that can breathe in water and out of water. That's unbelievable. And there's no proof to show how another creature turned into that, or any like lineage to say this one turns into that one. This is the crazy thing, Brian. There's no proof of it. So of course, I'm not even going to believe it. If there's, if I look at the proof, then it's not a belief. It's saying, okay, I either accept the fact or I don't accept it. I would accept the fact to say, okay, this thing can breathe underwater, or from what we see today, all right, we can compare it. But to say that it came out of water and developed lungs and turned into, say, an amphibian is the direction they want to go to, because they'll always lie. If you find something, oh well, okay, I guess it went in that direction. That's what the thing about evolutionists, that you don't even want to speak sometimes to some of them, because it's always another lie. Anything you bring up, yep, and that's why it evolved that way. It's never, could you be wrong? Could there be something that we find that will change the theory in a different direction? And they will never, ever admit that they won't let that happen. They will not let anything you find. Hey, let me show you how we evolved from that, right? And it's like, these people are creepy, man. These people are creepy. Let me tell you how that fits our theory. No, not how we can change our theory to fit the evidence. It's always how we can make that evidence fit our theory. Oh, it doesn't fit it properly? Well, we'll change the evidence then to fit it perfectly. So the amount of lies that I have seen uncovered throughout the religion of evolution, that lie is almost as bad as the if I would have believed that, then I might as well just believe a princess kisses a frog and the frog turns into a prince. You see, evolution will tell you that's crazy. That's out there, man. You're saying a princess kissed a frog and he turned into a prince, right? Yeah, that's pseudoscience, right? But then that same person that believes in evolution is going to say, yeah, but the frog, those genes that made the frog over billions of years will branch off and turn into other things until it eventually turns into a human. You have to be like a certain level of gullible to believe that. Because just think about the way I said it. And that's the way evolutionists will try to put it. They'll throw a little sugar on top, candy coated, say pretty please, all of this stuff. But that ain't going to make it real. So they're literally telling me that a princess that kisses and a princess kissing a frog and him turning into a prince sounds more realistic than a puddle with chemicals turning into cells that somehow magically formed multicellular organisms, which there's no 2 or 3 or 4 celled organism, right? It's only one, and then it goes to 1,000. It's ridiculous. But magically, hey, you know what? Let's just wave the magic wand. Bling, evolution did it. Evolution did it. I got to start making short videos of that and have my Darwin monkey there. Anytime something is unexplainable, just wave the wand. Evolution did it, guys. Evolution did it, And remember, Charles Darwin was an incel. Charles Darwin married his first cousin. You know, he married his first cousin, and I think 3 of their kids died at birth. And one of his sons, I think, ended up on the eugenics chairman, like one of the board members. You know, go figure, right? I hear these guys trying to protect evolution. Oh no, it didn't mean. Yeah, really? Why is his son on the eugenics board? Why did his cousin Francis Galton create the whole society for eugenics? I mean, these guys, when you look at it, the history ain't really that too cool. We have people telling us that a frog, and I'm glad I brought that. I'm glad Brian brought it up too, to bring it up with the fish and the things. So the frog, and this is where somebody can look at this and say, yeah, you have to be out of your mind to believe this. So you're telling me a frog, so the princess kissing the frog and the frog turning into prince, we can see that that's nuts, right? We say, wait a minute, what are you, crazy? But the frog, without getting kissed, over billions of years is going to turn into a prince. You have to be out of your mind. You have to be, you can't, like how? And responsive curve, you're right. To call him as a genius is embarrassing. He might be a genius, but he's not a genius. You know, he just, Darwin, and I've had guys even say on a show earlier today, the Gnosis guy, one of the cheerleaders that comes on there. I mean, he's just so hurt. He tried to say, oh, well, they know Charles Darwin was a racist and all of this stuff. And, you know, but the theory isn't intrinsically racist, though. I'm like, okay. Of course, there's nothing I could say to that person. Nothing. You just got to accept the fact that they're an idiot. And that's where the problem comes in. Not accepting that. Saying, no, I think this guy isn't as stupid as we think. That's where the mistake starts. It's like, nope. He's actually leagues more stupid than you think. It's actually to a point when we realize that, like how Bonhoeffer and Cipolla, when they wrote the Laws of Stupidity, how dangerous people can be. And you think, oh, no, they're not dangerous. Oh, yes, they are. 4th law of stupidity, man. You know, we always underestimate the danger that can be caused. And this is another thing. I mean, for them, Charles Darwin, they worshiped that guy for a period. The only reason that they kind of backed off some of them is because of some of the stuff that you can dig up about him. I mean, The Descent of Man, that book, it makes the origin of species look like a kid's story or something. Let me see. Magic Man says, all these fairy tales and myths of gods getting mad at humans, turning them into animals. I think magic like that was or is real. Yeah. And you're right. Elon said they can mess with your genes and turn you into a butt. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it. I mean, whenever I see Elon now, like when you look at him, you see like, this is the spoiled kid, the spoiled rich kid that grew up to be a monster. That's really what it's people are starting to see that more and more. I mean, apple don't fall too far from the tree. There was look at what his father did. Anybody can look up the father ended up having, he got with a single mother, and he ended up having a kid with the single mother's daughter. This is Elon Musk's father. Anybody can look this up. And so when you look at that, you say, oh, okay. So we see the apple don't fall too far from the tree. And I don't honestly, it's like, and I hear what you're saying, Brian. Like, do you think we can improve humans, right? It's like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like this, like an apple, right? So if you have a natural apple, it's smaller, it's not as sweet, but it has more nutrition than the bigger apple. So we can breed an apple that's bigger, sweeter, it's tasty, but it's not more nutritious as the original version. Anything we try to improve upon, somehow we seem to mess up. Somehow. Sometimes you improve on something and you get, you say, oh, wow, look, it improved in this area so much, but then it loses something in another area. And that's like the food when they try to, when they have bred it to where, you don't see the seeds anymore and all of that, but the nutritional content is less as opposed to that same type of food that's grown in the wild. Smaller. Somebody would say, well, it's much smaller and there's more seeds in it. Well, that makes you, that the seed is what basically you want the more seeds and it's more fertile. Well, and this is another thing. Again, they say we do it with dogs, cows, and horses, but these are the examples where we could see that they failed. When a cow, right, produces between 1 and 3 liters of milk a day, right? Just normally, right? When you say improve, right? They got cows now that produce more than 20 liters of milk a day. So that's what they call improvement, right? And somebody else might be like, yeah, man, look, you'd have to wait to drink milk, at only 1 to 3, and you got to give 1 of those or 2 of those to the calf, So look, we did this, but with improving that, like I said, things happen. Now you get a more increased instance of mastitis, which is a type of like pus from over milking, because a cow is not meant to produce 20 quarts or 20 liters a day. It only 1 to 3. So you're having it produce immensely, 7 times, 8 times, 10 times more than what it's used to. That's going to affect the whole system of the cow, which will require antibiotics and other things. And they'll say, look, that's part of progress, but we improved on the cow. But when you look at it, you say, no, you didn't improve on it. You made it worse, because now you're giving the cow antibiotics that aren't cleared for humans that come through into the milk. Also, you're giving the cow other things too that aren't cleared. So now we're getting all of that in there. How, and this is where I say, how does that make it better? It makes it more, again, the words are important. It's more productive because you went from 1 to 3 quarts a day to 20 quarts. But is it really more productive when you look at the cost, the overall cost, the cost at the end? The same thing with the dogs. If you look at dogs, Brian, dogs are an epidemic in America. And I don't know how you feel about this. I know Ashar is probably on the same note as me with this, maybe even further. The whole dog thing, I mean, it's an epidemic. If you look at, I think dogs kill, I think it's like 4 million people a year. How many people by dogs in the USA a year? Okay, so how many people? Okay, so it's not in the millions. All right, let me see if I write attacked. All right, attacked. So So now we're bringing it into, okay, so this is where it is. So approximately 4.5 million people are bitten by dogs annually in the US. And almost 1 million of those people, so almost a quarter of that, require medical care. And you see people getting ripped up. About 30 to 60 people are ended. But magically, the dogs ain't a problem. And we see this happening to children. Let me see. We'll get certain traits you want. How do we get certain traits we want when they're going to get a trait of producing more milk, right? But in getting the trait of producing more milk, now you have to medicate the cow more. So this is what I'm saying. You can get a trait that you want at a high cost on something else. You might get a cow that produces more meat, but that meat might not be as dense as a cow that didn't have that genetic altercation. It's like the Native Americans said. They say, well, why don't you just make pens and keep the buffalo in the pen? And when you want them, you can just go and kill a buffalo. And they said that would desecrate the buffalo's spirit. So if we eat the buffalo like that, we would become pent up and we would want to be kept in pens. So we hunt the wild buffalo so we can stay strong and wild like the buffalo. So just looking back at that, you start to say to yourself, like, wow, that has a deep implication, because these people knew without being formally schooled, because they were naturally intelligent. Again, another thing about the IQ test and showing us that tribal people just have a higher IQ without ever taking a test. If you put them to take a test, they're going to get a lower score, but you wouldn't be able to survive without them. So again, when we look at the whole IQ test, the way it's geared, it's very deceitful. It's very deceitful. But these native nations, and that's what they were. They weren't just tribes; they were nations. And they try to say, "Oh, they're just tribes," so it doesn't look as bad when they commit genocide and stuff on them. Oh, it was just a tribe. It wasn't a nation, but it was. It was a nation. It was a nation of people that they didn't respect. And remember, this is not a color thing, because they did it to the pagans of Europe. Those are the first ones. I mean, when you look at what they did to those people, chased them across the ocean, did witch trials, all time. I mean, just ridiculous types of stuff. But magically, people don't remember that. Yeah, and you're right, Magic Man. Animals, yeah, they spray the chemical. Yeah, when they're under stress, and we eat that trauma. And hunters know this too, right? When they go to drop an animal, they try to do it without the animal knowing, because if the animal knows and then they off it, it'll have that fear, that adrenaline will go through the meat and it'll taste different. There's some hunters that say the meat will even be spoiled. It'll have like a taste of fear that goes through it. It'll be too tense. And a lot of farmers, a lot of hunters talk about this, the fact that that's why they have to make the kill without it knowing, because that trauma is going to be in the animal and you'll be eating it. The meat's not going to be as tender. Now imagine the amount of trauma that is going into chickens and cows and stuff like that when they're getting slaughtered. I mean, you can watch the videos of them getting slaughtered. It's horrible, but you should watch them. You should learn what is going on. And when you look at that and you see, like, wait a second, these things are screaming almost. And now people are going to eat that. And they're going to be so easily susceptible to becoming like fed into with fear because of what they're being fed. Now that changes their vibration. Then they constantly pump fear and stuff into them in the news. And what do we get? We get a society of people that are eating beings that are traumatized, that are tortured, that are butchered. And then that same person eating that is watching stuff on a glowing rectangle that's constantly feeding them fear. At the same time, telling them that what you eat is healthy. Don't worry. We're telling you it's healthy. So again, you believe us. And that's why I was like, the first thing, it's like, I'm very skeptical on believing anything that comes from the government authority figure. I'm not saying I won't look at the info. I'll say, okay, you just got to check it. It's like, okay, you told me something. Let me check on it. And well, why do you got to check on it? Because you're a known liar. You've lied to me for my entire life. I've constantly hear lies. I can pick out many of them right now if I just backtrack some of the stuff that they've said in on television interviews and stuff. So why would I trust you now? You're a well-known liar. And they don't like that. They don't like when people think for themselves. They don't like that. It just yeah, I've heard they did some really throwing a chicken against. Yeah, it's really sad, man. I've heard like the stuff that they've done to other animals, man. Yeah, the slaughterhouses are just it's just so. And then to think that when people eat this, how do we think people are going to act? And I'm not making any excuses for people the way they act crazy in these restaurants and stuff. But I like to add in that what is being served in those restaurants, could it possibly have some bearing on the way a person might act? And again, that's not exonerating the behavior. It's saying this is, is there a scientific explanation for this? Because when I see these people go nuts in these places, there's something else. It's not just that. There's something else. Dr. Russell Blaylock made a good point. Hopefully he's still alive. Where he said that when he wrote a book called Excitotoxins, and he said that when the blood sugar reaches a certain level, people can respond violently. And he noticed that was a contributing factor, like it was a common trait that he noticed with certain violent acts that he was studying on statistically, and then making up his research on it. And it just, the stuff that they say, there's just always fear. It's like I said before. Have you ever heard just the fact that we don't hear it, and if we hear it, I don't think it's going to be genuine, but it would be just to even hear it as a step first. The president of a caring nation, of a civilization, right? Of a civilization, every night, maybe if it's pre-recorded, that's fine, but they need to play it, and for him to tell the people that he loves them. He loves everybody, hopes everybody's okay, tells people to love their children, be good parents, be a good person. We don't see that. We don't ever hear that. All we see is a monster preaching hate and fear. Every president I've ever seen has always preached fear and hate. I've never seen them preach love and peace. Never. Never. Hey, we could come to a peaceful resolution. Nope. It's always a lie. And that's why when people looked at it as, oh, well, why do you have to be, why is it always like a confrontation? It's not a confrontation. It's me staying away from idiots. And if that's the way an idiot wants to think, fine, great. I'm not trying to even convince that person because it's not worth it. We saw, what was happening on this channel was just a tip of the iceberg. I mean, the amount of people that have fell out because they were either plants or they're just not mentally equipped enough to get it. And that's okay, because a lot of us weren't mentally equipped enough to get it. You have to come to a point in your life, we don't know what does it, where you just somehow begin to accept it. And that's actually a good thing, because most people never accept it. Most people will pass into the next and still be an idiot. That, you know, when I talked with the guy earlier on Gnosis, he again, I was just like, wow, what, there's no sense in really talking to this guy, because all they do, you talk to some of these people and they'll drain intelligence from you. Yeah, they try to do the global thing, Magic Man. Yep. And they're always changing their schemes, always changing it. The name, they put that little that weird looking that little manly looking girl that was running around like protesting in other countries. And you know, the experts that were talking about the stuff, they didn't give them airtime, but they gave it to this little troll from, I don't know, what is she from, like Denmark or something like that. I mean, and the weirdest thing, if anybody looks at the name, and you guys know with the names and stuff, Greta Thunberg, exactly. Now, if you take those letters for her name, and this is, again, people try to say, oh, well, he's weird, he did the, I say, okay, if I'm weird, then why does it exist? Why can you take the exact letters that you just wrote here and respell 3 words that spells green brat thug? So see if those words from her name spell 3 words. So Greta Thunberg, does it spell green brat thug? So without no extra words, without no missing words. So it has to be, every single word has to be put, every single letter has to be put to use. That's how the anagram works. So Greta, I find that a little too close to being coincidental. The fact that that name, and we had a lot, I got to look at one of the old streams. I know it might even be like 20 days ago, but people were putting in some really, really good anagrams and like stuff that, I mean, it's on another level now. But the fact that they have somebody that runs around, you know, because her whole thing is about green, right? Eco, green, all of this stuff. Really? Okay, so how are you getting to the places? Are you taking transportation? That ain't so green. Unless, I don't know, what are you riding, a dolphin there or something? Or you know, a horse? How are you getting there? On horseback? What were you flying on Pegasus or something? It's just, who was it? Leonardo? They were talking about he tries to act like he's an activist, and he went to Jeff Bezos's wedding where there were like 40 private jets or something. Like, it was just ridiculous. I mean, yeah. You think about it, it's just like, no, you got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding. And politics is about power, man. Politics is definitely. You know what's funny is, Magic Man, you can look at Time magazine. There was something when they were trying to say it was like a heat wave. So it went from something about the heat wave stuff, then to the free. It's always something to make people afraid. Be worried. Watch out for this. Be careful. It's some Santa Claus. It's basically the same fear tactic. You better watch out. You know, you better not pout. You better not cry. I'm telling you why. I just happen to notice things that a lot of people just ignore. But, you know, I guess while it's still legal to notice them, because as we said in the camps, anybody can look it up. There's a good book called Test Card F. Test Card F, and that has they talk about how to free your mind in certain senses. But yeah, I'd like to thank everyone, man. It just it's great to be able to have feedback too, because I learned something. The whole the Thebes. I didn't know about Thebes, man. That 300 you know 300 from Thebes, that is put in another piece of the puzzle there. I appreciate that, Magic Man. That there were other stuff, what was it, stuff about genetics and stuff, the the Charles Darwin stuff. Yeah, definitely the wheat waffles. And I mean, those guys, yeah, I just can't even. The Elvis stuff, that was pretty deep. The Elvis stuff was pretty deep, because now that picture, I was like, wow. I definitely that's like kind of like, when you think about that, Magic Man, how you didn't find it kind of odd that you ran into that? Like, you find that and you say to yourself, like, wait a second, this is kind of, I mean, this is on another level. But then again, the more we look, the more odd things, seem to come to be more odd than normal. But I'd like to thank everybody in the chat. I appreciate it. We'll talk again tonight. Take care. Have a good one.